You damn right. Hope everybody is having a good Monday. We roll through June. We're heading towards the NBA draft. A lot of stuff going on. Obviously, football season getting even closer. We got nice round numbers for you today. Ready? Here we go. 75 days until that first big Saturday on September 2nd, and 80 days till the NFL's first night with the Chiefs and the Lions. We got a lot to get to today. Let's go. I'm Chad Hastings. It is Chad and Zay. I'm the Chad Hastings part, and he is the Isaiah Collier part. What's up, Zay?
What up, Chad? Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Hope Father's Day was good for all the fathers out there, including yourself. Chad, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How was your Father's Day? First and foremost, you saw father and father-in-law. How was it?
It was cool. They both enjoyed it. Both
That's
enjoyed
good.
their gifts. Both of them were golf-related. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, you didn't go. Did you go dead even? Like, did you make sure to even out the kind of gifts so that if they talk to each other?
No. My wife handles my father-in-law stuff.
Ah, okay.
So,
Ah.
he just wanted something golf-related.
There you go.
So did Cece, so it all worked out.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. I was involved in a couple meals, didn't get any specific presents, but I'm never looking for stuff like that. I realized as I was going to bed last night, I talked to my dad on Saturday, and I told him what his Father's Day present would be. I don't know that I actually said Happy Father's Day to him yesterday, so now I got to call him and apologize today. Like, I was all out of order and out of whack. And how about this? I didn't send my mom flowers on Mother's Day because they were traveling.
Oh, come on.
No. I wanted her to be able to enjoy them because she's all about that. She
Right.
sends me pictures every day of the flowers opening up and the whole
How
thing.
they bloom.
She's the woman you want to get flowers for because she really gets her money's worth. Gets your money's worth.
My wife likes the process of flowers, too.
So knowing that, I wanted to wait. Well, then my dumbass forgot at the end of May to send them, so I sent her flowers the day before Father's Day.
Terrific.
I was like, see, that's my curveball, Mom. Happy Mother's Day, almost to Father's Day. So hope everybody had a good Father's Day weekend. Also, as Zay mentioned, happy Juneteenth today. Federal holiday since 2021. The state of Texas is a huge part, obviously, of that holiday. And shout out to the great city of Galveston, where that event where everything went down there, and I know there's a big celebration every year in Galveston for Juneteenth. So hope everybody is having a good, safe time down there today.
Yeah, always some good barbecue you get on Juneteenth. Like, if you drive around, you might see some people just selling it on the side of the road. I'd take some.
Yeah, one of these years I'm going to, because it's weird, the office folks didn't really take off today. If the office folks take off, then I'll ask about, hey, can we have the shows off?
Right.
But they didn't take off today. At some point, if I could talk them into that, I might just drive to Galveston.
Man, they'll be popping over
Let's
there.
just find out what's going on.
Yeah.
I've been to Galveston. I have a good time every time I go, but I got a feeling like if I went today, it'd be a specific good time.
Oh, for sure.
That'd be good
sure.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to get on you too much for not allowing me, Hard, Rod, and Bucky to be off today, but that's cool. It's cool, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, again, I'm working on both of those days around the 4th. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get us the Monday and Tuesday around the 4th.
I appreciate it.
Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers on that one. But shout out to all of our folks today. Hope you're having a good one on a Monday. And there's a lot going on. We will get to some NBA as we lead up to the draft. A big trade that apparently is going to go down. We will talk some football. We're going to hit our mountain of the day coming up in our 12:30 segment. And we're talking Georgia today for that one, a future opponent of the Longhorns in 2024. They're going to be coming in. And we figure since they're the defending champs, might want to talk about Georgia a little bit. Good recruiting news for Texas as well. Zay, let's start on the bad note, and we'll just get past it. But what a horrible weekend if you are a West Virginia fan, as one of your names, one of your icons, one of your guys is essentially either forced to retire or realizes it's time or whatever. Scary stuff with Bob Huggins. He's out at West Virginia, a DWI, DUI, whichever it is technically. But Zay, this one was well past any sort of joke level or borderline level. This was 3 times the legal limit. Couldn't tell the cops where he was, car full of empty bottles and cans and stuff. And I think everybody's had the same thought since they read the story. Just glad nobody was hurt.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of goes back to his first mess up where he dropped a homophobic slur, which multiple times, and I thought he should have been canned for that. We talked about it. I said,
Mhm.
West Virginia, at this point of his career, it's only going to go more downhill from here. And I didn't think it would be something like this,
Man,
but you don't come back from that. And it's just weird. Like, again, he said those things, but now it makes a lot more sense why he said those things. And to be,
I remember some of our listeners saying, guys, he sounds hammered.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound absolutely plastered. And yeah, like you said, just thank goodness nobody was injured. And yeah, to not know where he was. And it's just very sad because he's a legend. Like, third most wins ever in college basketball history, men's college basketball, behind Coach K and Boeheim. And he's never had that ring, but a lot of people look at him as one of the GOATs. And this is very sad for that community of West Virginia. Again, it could have been avoided. Once you saw him drop the homophobic slurs, you should have known that, it's time for this guy to go. Like, I don't know what's going on, but there's more than basketball. If he's going to be teaching athletes/students, then those things are unacceptable. And now it really just hit the fan. So yeah, West Virginia finally did the right thing, and it's unfortunate and very sad.
Yeah, there was just, again, glad nobody was hurt. For him to be that far out of whack, if you missed the story, like they asked him 10 different times where he was. He couldn't clearly tell them. He couldn't understand what they were asking him at times. At one point, he said he was in Columbus, and he got pulled over in Pittsburgh. He got pulled over 185 miles from Columbus. He got pulled over 20 or 30 miles away from a Burger King where he had eaten. He showed them that receipt. It was for 7 hours before, and he couldn't explain to them what he'd been doing for those 7 hours. So all of that, and the blood alcohol was like 0.21.
Jeez.
It was like over 3 times, or right around 3 times the legal limit there. Thankfully, he did not hurt or kill anyone. And whether it was Bob's decision, West Virginia's decision, or both, it needed to be done, obviously. And yeah, like you said, Zay, that thing in the morning when he calls the state, and Bob's one of those guys that his normal voice is like low and mumbly and gravelly, and so
right.
You could make the argument that his completely sober voice sometimes sounds a little hammered. And maybe that's what people were thinking on that morning deal. But obviously there was something really serious going on here. And I'll add something else on top of it. His job requires so much travel.
Yes.
When you have a job like that, and Zay, this is not the first coach we've ever heard about that's a drinker. There's a lot of those stories over the years. A lot of guys that have had to been, poured into hotel rooms over the years. And maybe you need to be driven somewhere. But long before this, Bob Huggins should have figured out that, hey, maybe I need to get a driver to take me everywhere. But you can't have him, even if you got a driver to take him everywhere, he can't be that hammered going to every recruiting visit.
Right.
There's just issues there. Hopefully he can get them figured out. And hopefully Bob Huggins, let's just go to the basics. Hopefully he's not dead in 5 years.
Right.
Like, hopefully this isn't something really horrific and to where he's, just a hopeless alcoholic and he's just going to drink himself to death. Hopefully that's not the case.
We talk mental health a lot about these athletes, which we should, but we haven't really talked about mental health coming from coaches and how stressful being a coach has to be, especially a college coach. And yeah, this is your dream and this is what you love, but yeah, you don't get many breaks. You're gone probably 360 out of 365 days out of the year. You're locked in on your program from a recruiting standpoint to the X's and O's to the team that you have already. So it could get dark and you're not seeing your family very much. You might have a lot of kids and you're watching them grow, but not really because, again, in order for you to do a good job, you can't be at home that much. You got to be low-key sleeping at the facilities and things like that. So it could get really dark for some guys, and a lot of them will result in drinking. Ask Steve Sarkisian or Billy Clyde. Now, somebody like Bob Huggins, like, if you don't handle it the right way and you don't have positive people around you or just people that can help you through things, whether it's therapy or, again, just people in your corner from your assistant coaches to, the people at your household, family, etc. If you don't have that, then, again, you're already a yes man guy. Anything that you say, you being a head coach, people are going to say yes to. So it's
Right.
hard, like all that authority and all that pressure, especially depending on the program that you're at, it could get to some guys. And I think, he's been coaching for so long and he hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
He hasn't taken a break. It's just been being a head coach. That's all he knows. And again, this is very sad, and it's a really bad way to go out for somebody who just got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and it's got to be tough too. Anybody think about it. Whatever your job is, the person that is your boss or writes or signs your checks or both, if you knew they had a serious drinking problem, could you walk up to them and tell them that?
Right.
Could you actually broach that topic? Could his assistants, if I'm a trainer, if I'm a manager, and somebody just texted earlier like, hey, there are people in that town that know that he says there are plenty of folks in Morgantown who would say he's usually hammered and his mumbly voice may not be natural. It's a sad situation. That all may be true, but who is it that could step to him and ask him about it?
When we watched that 2001 Philadelphia special with Allen Iverson, Larry Brown, I had no idea he took a leave of absence for a little bit. Like a mental health break. Remember he was talking about that?
Right.
Coach, and
Larry did.
Larry Brown, yeah. They were like, they were like, we'll support Coach with whatever he does. He just needed a break.
Right.
And it's like, man, you're dealing with Allen Iverson. Like, your team's picked to maybe go to the finals and stuff this year. You've been coaching for a hell of a long time. Like, you won a national championship in '88. Like, it could get to guys. Like, if you don't get no break and if you don't stop, like, it could get really dark. And yeah, those people in West Virginia, what they gonna tell Bob Huggins? He is West Virginia.
Right. No, that's the thing. He's their guy.
And they know for all that drinking stuff. They probably like, oh, he's one of us. Like, it's relatable that he drinks
and
up there.
Yeah, they'll say, no, everybody, he can have a drink. He can take care of himself. He knows how to control it. And then you get something like this. It's like, wow. Somebody texted he'll be coaching in the SEC next week. I don't know if that's the case or not. We'll have to keep our eyes posted on that one. Chris Bennett is asking, was Huggins on a bender? There was something going on. Obviously, it did feel – it felt – I don't know. We were just talking about the travel in the trip. Does he normally travel with that much alcohol is one thing, but then again, empty cans and bottles all over the car, and he just couldn't tell him where he was. So it was something going on. Hopefully he can take care of himself. But Bob Huggins done at West Virginia. That was a big basketball story over the weekend. Then the big basketball story from yesterday and today ends up being the Suns taking a look. We've talked about, as the season ended for Phoenix in the playoffs, what were they going to do about Chris Paul? Zay, you were talking about this right away. What should they do with CP3? Do they move on from CP3? It looks like that's what they're trying to do. They are working on a deal to get CP3 out and Bradley Beal in. What are your thoughts on this one? And keeping DeAndre Ayton, apparently, in this process. What do you think?
Yeah, it's also Landry Shaman, a couple of other future picks that Phoenix is throwing over to Washington, but it's fun. This is what the NBA free agency offseason is all about. And if you're looking at the Phoenix Suns already with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and you see the NBA champions, Denver Nuggets, that's who you're looking to beat. And I don't know if they'll still be able to stop the Nuggets with these guys, but they'll definitely be able to score with them. And Bradley Beal is an absolute star. Like, him and Book have basically the same game, same measurements, around 6'5", just elite scores, can really shoot. And, Bradley Beal, even though there's a lot of money being thrown over there, like, they're going to have to give up a lot. Like, hell, they might hit me up and say, yo, Zay, we just need guys that we could pay at least 4 figures. Can you give us at least 5 minutes a game? I say, probably can't, but appreciate the call, Phoenix. Like, that's where they're at.
6 fouls in 5 minutes? Can you do it?
Just hacking. Just hacking. Sitting in the corner. Don't expect me to play no D, but yeah, if you look at Kevin Durant, he's played with some serious big threes, from Russell Westbrook and James Harden to Steph and Clay to Kyrie and James Harden. Now he's playing with Book and Bradley Beal. And now, just looking at a basketball standpoint, who are you going to be able, if you're coach Frank Vogel, their new coach there, because they just got rid of Monty Williams, who's over in Detroit. If you're Vogel, are you going to have a conversation with Devin Booker and say, hey, man, I'm going to need you to be more of a point guard this year? Because Cameron Payne's cool and all, but Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, you need more of a wing Both of those guys are two guards. And yes, they are bigger and can hold their own in situations. But again, look at Denver's lineup. Like Aaron Gordon, 6'10", Michael Porter Jr., 6'10". Both of those guys are huge. Like, I don't want Devin Booker or Bradley Beal on either one of those guys. They'll get in foul trouble and be post up and get worn down all game. Now, when it's the shoes on the other foot and they got the ball offensively, it's really hard to stop Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, especially when you have Kevin Durant, the 7-footer, probably playing power forward this year. So is Frank Vogel going to go to Devin Booker and be like, yo, man, I'm going to need you to be more of a point guard this year. You're still going to be aggressive. You're just going to have the ball in your hands a lot, and you're going to have a lot more playmaking responsibilities. Same with Bradley Beal. Like, when I put Devin Booker out the game, I expect Bradley Beal to take over that point guard position.
I was going to say, by making this move, does he essentially kind of have part-time point guards now?
Yes.
Okay.
And both of those guys, they're capable. They've just never done it for a full season. Which they're scorers. Like, why would they? So now somebody's going to have to distribute the rock. Like Cameron Payne, he ain't it. Like, it's all cute in games and stuff, but he ain't it. I'd definitely rather tell Book to be working on his point guard skills all year long. Same with Bradley Beal, and see what happens. But keeping DeAndre Ayton, that's big time. That is huge for them, even though he got absolutely demolished and exposed by the Finals MVP Nikola Jokic. This will help because they'll be able to score with those guys. They weren't able to keep up. Like, only the games they won in the playoffs, Phoenix versus Denver, were the games that Book and KD had to go for 40. Right. They couldn't do that for 4 straight games. So now, adding a Bradley Beal, it's going to help those guys, be able to score still, and also have another guy that can go get his own buckets, and Beal, which is an absolute star himself.
Does it help them at all defensively? How's Beal on the defensive end?
He's a good defender.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good defender. Again, he'll be able to focus on defense more because he's not the only guy in Washington. In Washington, you can't focus on defense that much because you got to play 82 games, and your responsibility is to get your team 30, or you're going to lose by 30.
Right, when you're out there with KD and you're out there with Booker.
Yeah, and KD, he'll be able to step his defense up, and they'll be able to help DeAndre Ayton when he has those tough matchups with guys like Nikola Jokic.
NBA news, the Suns are working on it. I don't think it's officially done yet, and out of respect for any deal that involves Chris Paul, we're going to wait till it's official.
Yeah.
To tell you it's official.
David Stern ain't alive no more. R.I.P. We miss you. You did a great job for the league, but you botched that one.
I'm sorry. Anytime I hear Chris Paul's name, it makes me nervous. So we'll wait till I see somebody with a logo, and I hear Woj say it's official.
Chris Paul was on Good Morning America today promoting his book.
I heard about that.
Terrible timing to be on that show. Terrible timing.
Did they really surprise him with it?
Oh, yeah.
He had to have known.
On the plane. No, what you mean?
Somebody had to have told him ahead of time.
Nope, on the plane. You find out like everybody else. I mean, look, Chris Paul, you got to understand, you're on your last leg, literally.
That's
like
rough.
You don't got much left. And he was professional with Michael Strahan and crew, but he was also a little salty just because Chris Paul's a crazy competitor. He probably thinks if he were healthy, they would have beat the Nuggets, which hell no. But he's competitive. That's why he's Chris Paul. That's why he's going to the Hall of Fame at 6 foot. But now, which the Wizards are probably going to waive him, it's all about the next step. Where are you going to go next? Can you be a backup on the team? I've been hearing Lakers. I've been hearing Clippers. I still think Milwaukee will be a great fit for Chris Paul because they have a couple of more years left of what they're trying to do, make another run. But yeah, man, NBA, free agency, offseason, draft on Thursday. This is what it's about, and it's already started.
Yeah, a lot going on. This is a league that's known for its drama and known for its soap opera, and the offseason always provides it. We got a little bit more of that coming up as Draymond Green apparently has made a decision that will affect his future a little bit. We'll get into that. Texas football with some good recruiting news over the weekend, and our mountain of the day is Georgia. When you're talking about the Mount Rushmore of Georgia football, again, we're keeping coaches out of it, so Coach Dooley gets all his love, but we won't give him a slot here. You got to go Herschel. What do you do after that? We will talk about it. Stay with us on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and happy Juneteenth to you. It's The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right, getting started on a Monday. Duran Duran. I can see the video of this one. There's no Duran Duran song that I don't see the video. They had videos all over the place. You into Duran Duran at all, Zay?
Yeah,
kinda?
I know they're good.
They are very good. It's a good live show. I'm glad I finally saw them. I dug them back in the 80s, loved the videos, and they were really good live. I think they're back on – I know they're back on tour. I can't remember if they've been through yet or not, but I think they're going back out to Coda, and they're bringing Nile Rodgers and Chic back with them to open. That's the show I saw. It's a good show.
Huh.
Really good show. Good show if you're into Duran Duran. I even saw – it's weird you played this song. I saw the movie – my father-in-law watches some of the weirdest television. He was watching – he loves old movies. He was watching Barbarella with Jane Fonda. In that movie, there's some character named Duran Duran. That's where they got the name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I actually saw – I'd never seen any of the movie. It's a spacey, everybody's on drugs kind of movie. But, yeah, so that was this weekend as well. We hope you had a good Father's Day weekend hanging out with dad or father-in-law, or maybe you're just getting away from everybody. I mowed the lawn. Felt very fatherly doing that yesterday. Dude, I mowed in like 104.
Jeez.
My wife was like, do you want to wait till? I'm like, what? Till it's down to 100? Does it really matter?
Yeah, what time was this?
I started mowing at like, I don't know, 5:30.
Damn.
She's like, don't you want to wait till like, I was like, no, I'm good. If I'm going to sweat. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's summertime. It's wake up the neighbors 5 a.m., 6 a.m. mode.
Oh, you're going that early?
Oh, hell
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. See, we were out of town, so I couldn't get up early yesterday and do it. So once we got home, I thought, you know what? I don't want to have to mess with it during the week. I'll do it now, and we'll shed a pound or two. We're good.
There you go. Knock it out.
Hydrate a little bit. Now, I try to use this Texas heat to my advantage. I'll just go for like random walks when it's 100 degrees just to sweat a little bit.
Sweat.
Just to sweat based on what I've been eating and drinking. Did a little bit of that over the weekend, too.
Yeah, how's the food? You said you ate good. What was the food like?
Yeah, I mean, it was the in-laws, so it was good basic stuff. There's a place in the Sugar Land area called Kelly's. They're all about home cooking.
Okay.
Big old portions of everything.
Like chicken fried steaks, stuff like that.
The chicken fried, they do great breakfast. I did, what the heck did I have? Oh, I did like a chicken and dressing.
Oh,
Like a roast chicken and dressing.
Right.
Oh, that was tasty.
okay.
Brought some of that home with me, too, because the portions are so massive. So we did that. Also hit a Mexican food place they like in the evening called Gringos. So shout out to Gringos as well. So we kept it pretty basic, but the food was very, very good for Father's Day. Hope you had a good one. We were just talking about this NBA story with Chris Paul possibly being moved to maybe it's Washington. The other thing to keep in mind, we didn't say, this could turn into a 3-team deal. Zay, the reason they're saying this isn't done yet is they're talking to try to find Chris Paul a home because ultimately he's not going to want to end up in Washington.
Nope.
So they're trying to find who's that other team, or does he just get out of it? Can Washington, buy him out and then get him somewhere else? So we're kind of looking for that. Also, our man CB throws in the question, should Phoenix just pursue Draymond Green? He may be a free agent.
Wow.
He did opt out, but there's thought that maybe he opted out so he could reorganize things with the Warriors. So he apparently did opt out today. $27.6 million is what he would have gotten. So, Zay, do you think this is just him restructuring with the Warriors, or do you think Draymond might actually want to, do the whining and dining and maybe go somewhere?
A part of him wants to do the whining and dining, but I think he wants to stay in Golden State. Like, he's been talking on this podcast right when their season ended. He thinks they could get right back to a championship team, which, again, they had a lot of distractions this year. A lot because of him knocking out Jordan Poole. It started there. Like, going back to that, Chad, this fool punched Jordan Poole after they won a championship. You're supposed to be punching people when you don't make the playoffs because you're upset by other people's performance. Jordan Poole had the season of his life. And you're punching him in the face, yeah, he might be a little cocky. Take him out to eat. Talk to him. You punched him in his face, and then that just caused a trickle-down effect to how dysfunctional the rest of their season was, from Andrew Wiggins just leaving for like a month, because he had family reasons and just et cetera, et cetera. You got Steph probably worrying about his wife being with other men and stuff. Just a lot of distractions. A lot of distractions.
Yeah.
So Draymond's probably thinking, if we don't have those distractions, then we beat the Lakers, we go on, beat the Nuggets, and we win another championship. I think he's just going to restructure his contract to see what he could do to help the Warriors, who else needs money on the team, who they should look at for maybe free agency. I don't know, but I can't see Draymond playing with anyone else.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It feels like he's going to stay put. By the way, the same Chris Bennett, who's in Washington State now, says 55 was the high up here yesterday. How dare you,
that's
CB?
Glorious.
There's no need to be mentioning that to us folks dealing with the 100 and something. By the way, take care of your old folks, young folks, pets, and everything. Next 3 days, it's like 105, 107. Make sure everybody's cool and inside and fans, air conditioners, all that stuff. It is going to be brutal these first 3 days of the week.
I need some water.
God. All right. Let's get into a little football talk. Good news for you if you are a Longhorn football fan. A couple of guys get added to the 24 recruiting class. A couple of commitments. The first is a receiver. I guess we'll go in order. I think the defensive back went first. I think it was Santana Wilson first. Great name. 4-star out of Arizona. He knows about the Heat. And he's listed here at 6'1", 180. 4-star guy there. Then Freddie Dubose Jr., the receiver out of Smithson Valley, picks Texas. He had an ACL in his junior year, so he hasn't played since his sophomore year, but he is now committed to Texas. There were names on the list like Tennessee, UTSA, Baylor, A&M, Tech, TCU, and others. He is also listed, Zay, as a 4-star guy. So there are now 5 guys in the 2024 class.
Yeah. Santana Wilson is the son of Adrian Wilson, longtime safety in the NFL that played for Arizona.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, sir. So he got good genes, man.
Oh, okay.
Adrian Wilson was a big safety, man. 6'3". He used to lay the wood. He was really good. You definitely have to be good to play that long at that position in the National Football League. And yeah, Du Bois was the boys?
Freddie Dubose Jr.
Excuse me. Yeah, you talked about him having an ACL injury, but then him coming back. I heard he came back a lot faster than
That's what they
people thought.
say, yeah.
So definitely has Blazers. If you don't, Steve Sarkisian ain't going to recruit you. So
yeah, from the video I watched, good speed, and then also just some good in traffic. Like that's a big thing I would look for right now if I'm a coach looking for a receiver. Somebody's got to be able to do it in traffic because you're going to face that traffic in the pros and college and the pros if you're headed that way. But can you go up and get it? Can you go up and fight a guy off for the football and then separate? He seems to be that kind of guy too. I'll go up the ladder, even if someone else is on the ladder, but then once we come down, if you don't have a hand on me, I'm gone.
Yeah, you got to have those dogs at that position, man. You got to be aggressive. That ball's in the air. You got to say, yo, I don't give a damn who you are as a corner. I'm getting this one. And we didn't see that as much as we should have last season. A lot of that was due to Xavier Worthy having a broken freaking hand and let's just trying to throw him into those tight windows and those tight spots where there was a lot of congestion. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this wide receiver room, which is very deep, doing a lot of that and a lot of guys being open this season. And with Chris Jackson in the wide receiver room that you see, that's going to be very appealing to these recruits that are wide receivers coming in to see that, oh, yeah, Sark's been around a lot of guys coming from his Alabama, even his Southern Cal days, etc. I could be that. He's putting guys in the NFL. I could be that too. And that's what you want as a high school player going into your college career.
Yeah, this one's big for Chris Jackson, his first official wide receiver commit since he got the job. So that's a big one.
Yeah, I saw Jonte Cook. He put something on Twitter like basically saluting the process.
Okay.
My man out of Smithson Valley.
Smithson Valley, that's it. 75 days away from the first Longhorn game of this season, and it may be a little while before the name Freddie Dubose Jr. Has an impact at Texas because of that coming off that ACL. And again, the last season he played was his sophomore year, but he is in the 24 class, so we'll see if it's 24, maybe it's 25, maybe it's that second year in the SEC where Dubose makes an impact. Speaking of the SEC, our mountain of the day today is those Georgia Bulldogs. To get you fired up for football season, 80 days till the first NFL game, 75 till that first Texas game, as I mentioned. We're going to go through some Mount Rushmore talk each day, different teams, pro and college. We thought we'd start with the two-time defending champs at the college level. Zay, some of our listeners are saying they don't think Georgia has a whole lot of great players through the years. I might disagree with that one. First and foremost, are you willing to waive your I didn't see him with my naked eyes rule for Herschel Walker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though he be wilding as a politician, I am definitely putting him in there.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yo, the dude had over 1,800 yards in his second year, 81, and was second in the Heisman. Who won it that year?
I'd have to go double check. 80 was George Rogers.
He won it in 82.
He won it in 82.
But
I'll
he had
double
more
check.
yards in the season that he lost. More yards and more touchdowns. He had 20 touchdowns in 81 and 17 in 82, the year that he won it.
My guess is going to be, is that Johnny Rogers' year? 81. I'm almost there. 81 is, Marcus Allen.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I guess.
Yeah, George Rogers 80, Marcus Allen 81, Herschel 82. You could make an argument for him there. Yeah, the numbers are dumb. 1,600 as a freshman. You mentioned almost 1,900 the next year as a sophomore, and then 1,752 as a junior. Herschel was absolutely unreal. So you got Herschel on there. Who else did you throw in?
Okay, so it's going to get a little biased because now it's going to go to naked eye / dudes that I've always loved in their professional career because kind of what the people are saying. They got great players, but all of them real old heads, except for, recently with the teams that just won it. But I don't feel right putting anybody on there except, Chad.
Yes?
Stetson Bennett.
Oh, come on.
Stetson Bennett.
You're going Mount Rushmore on Bennett?
What? Who else has 2 rings from Georgia as a QB?
He does have back-to-back jewelry.
I looked at Stafford. Looked at the Dallas native. It looked good. Former number 1 pick. Stats are there. Can't do it. Couldn't beat Tebow. Couldn't win the big games.
Outside of the rings themselves, does Bennett have numbers that 20 years from now will be all right? Or will he just be the quarterback of a championship team?
Last year, Stetson was slinging that thing.
Come on, Stetson.
4,000 yards through the air.
Okay.
27 touchdowns. Year before, 29 touchdowns.
Okay.
Over 28.
All right.
100 yards in the air.
Okay.
I mean, come on. He did his thing.
That's fair. Now, I decided to go with my rule that I used on Texas and Texas A&M. I just went with the Heisman winners and then figured out the rest.
Oh, come on.
Their other Heisman winner, just to give the old guy some love, is Frank Sinkwich.
What year was this?
1942.
Oh, man.
All right, Zay, hang on.
The leather helmets?
In a bowl game when they won the Orange Bowl, he had 139 yards rushing, 9-13 passing for 243 and 3 touchdowns. Game 3 of a season, he broke his jaw. They invented a face mask when they didn't even have face masks. He finishes out the year. He played with all kinds of injuries. He ended up one year with 30 rushing and 30 passing touchdowns. I got to give Sinkwich a little love, too. Come on now.
How injured is everybody else? If this dude's playing with a broken jaw, then how injured is my middle linebacker?
Okay.
Playing with a broken arm?
Okay, look,
dislocated legs.
Everyone on Georgia Tech's team was in traction, but that's not the issue here. I'm just telling you how good Frank was. So I went with Herschel, I went with Frank, and then I went defensive on my last 2. I went David Pollock, Champ Bailey.
Yo, man.
That's what I did. Last 2.
Champ Bailey might be my favorite defensive player ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Yeah.
We're going back. If you went to Bailey Middle School with me 2003 through 2005, anything I did on the football field, 7th, 8th grade year, offensively or defensively, just like how people yell Kobe, I yell Champ Bailey.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because for one, he was already on his way to the Hall of Fame as a pro corner.
You screamed, Champ?
Yeah, he just got put on with the Broncos. Champ was my dude, just lockdown corner. And I knew I had none of those skills, 0 cornerback skills, no quickness, no good hips, all of those things I didn't have. So I looked up to guys like Champ Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
man,
did it all.
He was, I think he's underrated. I think when people talk about corners, you throw Dion out there, obviously, and maybe a couple other guys, I don't think Champ gets talked about enough. Like all pros, Pro Bowls. Like I'm still pissed that he didn't score that touchdown and when he played against New England, when he almost had that pick six and it was a touchback. You remember that? Playoffs. Playoffs against New England in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Champ scores that. Hey, maybe you'll win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
That's a different story for a different day. Yeah, Champ Bailey, easily my favorite player on this list. My last one, Shad.
Yes.
Kind of the same, just a dog, definitely in the pros, had over 3,000 all-purpose yards during his time at Georgia. Hines Ward.
Hines is a great one, especially if you're looking for that all-purpose do everything kind of guy. Hines was incredible. Hines and Champ are right there to me because they both did everything. Champ was that good at DB, played some receiver, and was a return guy, and was really good at all of it. Like, he did everything for them.
Hines Ward might not be the best XFL coach. That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
But when he played, your head better be on the swivel. Hines Ward, when it comes to blocking, not many were better at wide receiver than Hines Ward.
Our man CB says, put Stetson Bennett on that Mount Rushmore. He also says David Green might need to go on there. Winningest quarterback in college football before Colt took the record from him. David Green.
That's true.
He was a badass.
He was good,
And I would tell everybody that hates David Pollock on television, go look at that dude's stats at Georgia. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Unanimous, first team, consensus All-American, 3 straight years. And one year, I swear he won 6 different awards. He won awards I don't even think that are for defensive players.
Wow.
It's not that good. But just everything. Every Lombardi, Butkus, Nagurski, all of it in one year. Man, he was a beast.
Yeah. I knew A.J. Green wouldn't make my list, but he might be 6 or 7 for me.
Somebody brought A.J. Green up. You brought Matt Stafford up. Somebody said they might throw him in there too. So let us know what you think. There's a list there. It's Georgia. It is Georgia football after all. Let us know who you'd put on the Georgia Mount Rushmore. Coming up at 105, Joe Cook of Inside Texas talking about the recruiting news of the weekend, plus getting ready for football season, of course. And we might get Joe's thoughts on the College World Series as they roll on. Up next, though, in the crap bag, a different kind of Father's Day story. Sometimes it doesn't fit the script. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
This voice sounds familiar, and I think you might have played it before. The Christopher Cross.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Christopher Cross to all you Yacht Rock fans.
Did you just go to
Don't say the metal fan doesn't know his Yacht Rock every once in a while.
to figure this out? Did you just go to who sounds the most like a woman but is not? Christopher Cross. There we go.
I think that's the mistake I probably made the first time you played it, that I thought it was a woman, but it's actually a guy. Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, hope you're having a good Monday. Chad and Zay with you on this Monday. Lots of summer going on. It feels like summer this week. It technically becomes summer this week, and around these parts, you are going to hear a lot of different vacations crossing up. Jeff Howe's on vacation now. Craig Way's going to have a vacation. Next week is wild. Next week, all 4 shows will have somebody taking some vacation. So we're going to have an interesting week next week. Zay is going for a week of vacation next week in terms of this show, and I'm very excited for you because this isn't just a vacation, right? This is y'all's honeymoon.
Oh, yeah, it's a honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's almost been 2 years since we got hitched from the courthouse.
So if I try to call you next Wednesday, is the phone gonna be disconnected?
No.
Or what'll happen?
I'll still be on the grid, just
Okay.
barely.
Oh, I'm not gonna call you.
I'm pretty sure I probably wouldn't answer.
No, I try to let people have vacations, man. I tried to learn from people through the years. My favorite program director of all time said, "Hey, disconnect. Don't listen to anything. Don't listen to a show. Don't listen to a segment. Get away from it completely."
Yeah.
And he was absolutely right. I do my best to completely just get away from it, if you can. And it's going to be good. So I know you and your wife are going to have a great time. Hopefully everybody's having good vacations out there. If you're trying to get out of Texas right now because it's 105, I totally understand. Please be careful in your travels. We've hit some of the big stories of the day. Bob Huggins out at West Virginia after that crazy story. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and hopefully Bob can get some help. NBA, Suns working on the deal to get Bradley Beal. Draymond Green opting out, and we're talking some football. Texas got a couple good recruits over the weekend in the 24 class, a couple of commits in the 24 class, and we're talking Georgia, Mount Rushmore. Herschel's got to be there. Who else? We've had everybody from David Green to Champ to Hines Ward get mentioned today. And yes, I threw in Frank Drinkwitz, the other Heisman Trophy winner. Sinkwitz. I got his name wrong. I had to double check. Frank Sinkwitz from 1942. I love those stories about the guys in the 40s that are like playing with broken jaws and stuff. It's fantastic. We've been hitting that as well. Joe Cook coming up at 105. Right now, though, let's tell you about a different kind of Father's Day story in the crap bag.
Chad's Crap Bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Shout out to Tom and his lovely daughter who've been on the station before, and hope they had a great Father's Day over the weekend. So, Father's Day, usually we get some really cool stories, right? Could be a U.S. Open winner, and he hugs his dad on the green. It could be baseball, and they got all the blue stuff and the blue bats, and they're paying tribute to, and dad's in the stands, and he's rooting Junior on and all that. But this weekend, there was one that kind of had a little curveball to it. So the Braves had a dude that has been a career journeyman type. He's 34 years old. His name is Charlie Culberson. And Charlie had not played much, if at all, this year. I'm not sure if he even had stats this year. But they thought it'd be really cool if they let Charlie's dad throw out the first pitch. So they set it all up for Father's Day yesterday. Charlie's dad's going to throw out the first pitch. Did you hear Charlie's dad's throwing out the first pitch? Oh, my God, it's going to be so great. And Charlie will catch it, and it'll be a moment, and we'll have a photo op. Only problem is, sometime before that, I guess it was Saturday or whatever, the Braves had to designate Charlie for assignment to bring in a catcher to fill a roster spot. Uh-oh. So they got to moving quick and decided, okay, wait, do we have another dad we could get to the ballpark?
Whose pops is here?
And they did. And how about this? They get the father of Michael Harris II, so they get Michael Harris I to come throw out the first pitch. Then Michael Harris II goes 5 for 5, and the Braves win 14-6.
Wow, great story.
So that works, right? That part worked out. Hopefully, Charlie Culberson and his dad still had a good Father's Day. I did not hear the back end of that story, but kind of crazy there. So they designated for assignment. Got to make a change.
Yeah, nothing like telling Pops Happy Father's Day, like getting demoted. Like, come on.
Damn. I don't know which one felt worse, that the dad had to say, hey, I'm hearing I'm not going to be able to do, or did the son say, hey, Dad, they got to go to the bullpen because I got to go to the minors?
Oh, man.
Like, how did they do that? Like, how do you let them know? That is so sad.
It's tough at that age, too, going to the minors. Like, at 34, like, that just shows kind of the roller coaster journey.
Oh, yeah.
As a major league or just a professional baseball player.
Yeah, he's a grinder. He's been in the Rangers organization. He's been in multiple organizations. The guy's just, kind of a lifetime minor league dude. So that's sad that it didn't happen, because I'm sure that would have been really, really cool to have Dad throw out the first pitch.
I remember they had like Robinson Cano during the end of his career. He was playing AAA ball for, I don't know who he was, like what club he was under, but he was playing AAA ball. This is Robinson Cano, like perennial all-star.
Yeah.
I know he had his little PED stint, but even guys that good could get put down or get brought down. It's crazy.
They want to keep playing, so they're going. So hopefully Charlie Culberson will have a moment coming up at some point. And I'm sure his dad is very proud of him. And I'm sure, hopefully they had a good Father's Day yesterday. All right. Also, a little day in history real quick. Today is the day Michael Jordan was drafted. That draft, 84, today.
Wow.
Michael Jordan taken off the board by the Bulls, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Hall of Famer went number 1, Hakeem Olajuwon, and then Sam Bowie went number 2.
Samuel Bowie.
Oh, man. Portland, they're still struggling with that pick.
Right.
Like, they're still, they don't know what to do with Damian Lillard. They're so afraid to start over, Chad.
Yeah, right.
Because they've mucked up so many times with, Greg Oden and Sam Bowie.
Greg Oden.
You literally could have had Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant, and just that one decision. They don't want to even think about the Scoot Henderson thing. The smart thing to do for Dame's sake and the Blazers' sake would be to get rid of Dame, get a lot back for him, and then start over with Scoot Henderson, because it just didn't work out with Dame.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, the time where LaMarcus Aldridge was over it, he didn't know Dame was going to be that good, so he mugged y'all. Y'all should have been convincing LaMarcus, hey, bro, can you just stick around for maybe a couple more years? Because this Dame guy, he might be the best point guard in the league on the right team. And LaMarcus was like, no, I've been here for over a decade. I'm going to see what's going on in San Antonio, because they got a guy in Kawhi Leonard that's going to be really good. And we saw how that worked out there. But yeah, Portland Trail Blazers, think about that front office right now and how stressed they are, which a lot of those decisions, a lot of those guys probably weren't even alive in 84.
Right.
But think about how stressed they are because of the franchise's mistakes during this week over the course of their history. After Bill Walton and all that success, you just watched that documentary.
Oh, man.
It's been really dark.
Yeah.
And
that curse kind of started with him.
Yeah.
Once they got the title and then the injuries start to hit, it sort of started there too.
No, they struck gold with Brandon Roy. He ended up having injury problems.
Yeah.
Then they went on to Dame, and it just hasn't worked out. But yeah, I know that front office is stressed because of those Greg Oden, Sam Bowie decisions.
Because they know whoever they take, the next guy will become a Hall of Famer. And he won't. Whoever they pick will not. That's been their luck. All right, coming up, the draft is coming, by the way, on Thursday. We'll be previewing that throughout the week. Up next, Joe Cook, Inside Texas, on3.com. Longhorns get a couple of nice recruiting commits in the 24 class, and we close in on the football season, 75 days away from that. Plus, if Joe's been checking out the College World Series, we'll find out. He's also an Astros guy, so may mix in a question there. Plus, coming up in the Flex segment, we will also talk a little bit of Flex. Got a local product that's going to be headed to a camp that we won't tell you about, and big event this weekend going on in College Station. Plus, Nick Saban can't stop talking about the playoffs and college football. We'll get into all that next hour. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's go hour number 2 on a Monday. Hope you're having a good one. Stay cool out there if you can. Find some shade if you can. You'll find out how much of an old man or old woman you are when you start looking for shade more and more. I am a certified old man when it comes to that. It's Chad and Zay. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier. Hope you're having a good start to your week. Hope you had a great Father's Day, getting to hang out with all the important dads in your life, or hopefully maybe you are the important dad in somebody's life. And I hope you had some good food, maybe got some good presents. Zay's handing out golf equipment to all the dads in his world. It's good stuff.
Oh, yeah. They loved it.
Now, what kind of stuff are you getting them? Is it clothing? Is it the accessories? Golf has a lot of stuff to buy.
Yo, Cece just got a gift card.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, he's good with that. Kev, which the detailed guy that he is,
yes,
he got the little, the binocular thing that tells you how far.
The rangefinder.
The rangefinder.
Yeah,
he got that. So
yeah.
He went from amateur to PGA real quick.
I'm starting to learn. One, I'm glad they finally let the PGA guys use the rangefinders because they were going old school Bagger Vance style up until then. But I like the idea of the worse golfer you are. Like if you're a bad golfer, I think over time I've learned you might need that even more.
Yeah.
Just because if you can, it lets you get out of people's way a little bit. Like if I could stand there, you just go through too much thinking. It's like, no, get you a number and go. Grab a club and swing. I think that could help out. That's cool, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, CC, he don't think he need that stuff because he's such a pro.
Obviously not.
So, yeah, that'd be a waste of time getting him that. Kevin, going smart with it. He said, I need this. I'm going to use it. It's going to help my game. And, yeah, he's going to thrive out there. Is hyped when he got it.
Is CC going Bagger Vance style, jumping the fence and walking the course at night and everything? Is he doing?
He just guesstimates.
He guesses.
Yeah.
I used to do that, too. I'm so cheap, I've not bought the device yet at all. Somebody told me once, shout out to my man Bo Edge if he's listening today, great golfer, much better than me. He told me, he goes, Chad, I've seen you play golf. You got to get a lot better before you think about a rangefinder. I said, all right, man, I appreciate the honesty. He goes, they mark stuff off for you. Look at the ground. If you see a number, that's fine.
Like the flag colors and stuff, yeah.
Otherwise, just guess. You're good. You got to get a lot better. All right, let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. We'll talk some Longhorn stuff and maybe a couple other things with Joe Cook of Inside Texas on 3.com. We do it every Monday about this time. Joe, how are you?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
We always appreciate the time. Now, I kind of asked you about this last week, but I just wanted to see, now that Texas is not a part of the College World Series, how do you watch the College World Series? Do you disconnect yourself from it, or does your baseball fandom draw you to Omaha no matter what?
I kind of just have to disconnect after Texas gets eliminated in these situations. And, in recent years, it's only happened in this year in 2017 and, of course, 2019. After it happens, I kind of lose. I don't want to see college baseball. I don't want to see it without burnt orange involved. But that's not to say that, people should follow my lead. This is a really captivating tournament, I feel like. Some of the stars of the sport, including Paul Skeens, including Dylan Cruz, and including Jack, I can't pronounce his last name, from Florida. They're all there. Good teams like Tennessee, and then you even got a Cinderella like Oral Roberts up there as well. So it's not something on my radar, especially with all the different recruiting stuff going on, but it should be, because it's one of the better fields of College World Series teams that we've seen in a while, especially with some star power, and should be fun to watch how it all plays out. If I decide to flip it on ESPN.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a lot of SEC teams in that College World Series with Tennessee and LSU, which takes me to my next question, Joe. With the schedule coming out last week, we haven't really got to talk to you since then, but, A&M on the schedule. You got Florida and Georgia coming to DKR, and you still got to go to Michigan in 2024. What are your thoughts on the SEC schedule and what the Horns are looking forward to?
I mean, this is why you join the league, to have these types of big name brands with national, immediate recognition and, powerful players and great coaches come into Austin more than just one time a year. And, I've always kind of couched it this way. This isn't to speak down to Kansas State and Iowa State, who have both had success in Austin in some points in the recent years, like even Kansas. But, those aren't the teams that are going to bring 100,000 people to town and fill the 100,000-seat stadium. That first SEC slate with Florida and Georgia and Mississippi State and Kentucky, those are all going to be most likely going to be sellouts and big sellouts, and it's going to help the entire, ecosystem for UT football, all the restaurants and where y'all have Texas Tailgate and stuff like that. So that's super exciting. Of course, it's going to be really challenging games. Florida, by that point, looks to be they may have something going with Billy Napier. That's been a program that's recruited pretty well over the past couple of years after, Dan Mullen really didn't want to. And then Georgia is just the force. That's going to be big time, and that's a fan base that travels really well. So I'm really excited to see that. And, it's what you signed up for. I guess the only thing you can complain about is as far as going to destination, you're not really going anywhere new. I mean, Texas is very familiar with Fayetteville. The Cotton Bowl is always going to be in Dallas. At College Station, Texas has been there plenty. In Nashville, of course, I mean, that's new, but it's Nashville. It's kind of you're not getting the full SEC college town experience like you might be if you go to Knoxville or if you went to Gainesville or stuff like that. Now, Nashville is pretty cool, and I'm excited to go and see what that experience is like and how Texas fans travel to see Vanderbilt. But other than that, it's a fantastic slate, and one I'm really excited for, but one that if you saw Texas players on social media last week, they were focused on 2023.
Joe, I'm going to give you the advice that I've been given from Georgia fans, South Carolina fans, and Auburn fans. They have all told me to go to Nashville because what they don't have in football, Vanderbilt fans make up for with partying. Hit the tailgates, and if you like to drink, Vanderbilt fans have a beverage for you. That's what I've been told.
I feel like that's common across the SEC.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. And, hey, Vanderbilt leads the all-time series with Texas. So it's time for Longhorns to start making in the lead in the lead the Commodores have.
That's fantastic. There's a stat right there.
Wow.
See, Joe's been doing his homework, Zay. That's multi-level right
That's
there.
a depressing stat, Joe.
It really is. Joe, how about the good news for Texas recruiting over the weekend? Couple of commits in the 24 class. Freddie Dubose Jr., the wide receiver out of Smithson Valley, and Santana Wilson, a great name out of Arizona on the defensive side. So 5 guys now in this class, and obviously Dubose important for Chris Jackson, his first official wide receiver commit, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Dubose, he was at Schertz Clements last year, or prior to going to Smithson Valley. And if I recall right, I don't think Schertz Clements is a big passing team. I think they like to run the ball and run the ball some more. And even if they have a talent at wideout, that's where it goes to if they're not running the rock. So he goes to Smithson Valley. Unfortunately, sustains a pretty major knee injury earlier in the year. But he comes back, and for track season, he's throwing down great times in the 400 and in the long jump and in the triple jump. And, he's a great kid, a very captivating personality. And, if he's able to return to anywhere close to where he was, he's going to be great. But it seems like with his track times from the spring, he's already made some progress to getting back and being a big force on the football field this year. And like you mentioned, big for Chris Jackson to have that first commit. Dubose was a player that I think Tennessee and Texas A&M and Baylor, those were some of the schools that stood out for his services, and Texas ends up getting him in the boat in the end. As far as Adrian Wilson goes, that is the son of Santana Wilson. Santana
there you
is
go.
the son of Adrian Wilson, the former All-Pro safety with the Cardinals, who's in the Carolina Panthers front office. You get him away from, the in-state Arizona schools, the West Coast, Oregon, all those guys. I think even Texas A&M was a little bit interested, and you get a really great corner in that class. And Eric Naleen and a lot of us over at Inside Texas have kind of made the point in recent weeks, and especially with Wilson's commitment, that think about the families who are in football or associated with football that are, giving their whether spoken or unspoken, there's stamps of approval to Steve Sarkisian and his program. I mean, you had Chet Brooks, who was part of the wrecking crew. He says, you know what, I'm going to send my son to Texas and see, what the Longhorns are working with instead of Ohio State. The Mannings, obviously. And now someone who's in a front office, a high up in a front office of an NFL franchise, he saw and his son saw enough this weekend to where that program, the Longhorns, got their stamps of approval. Always looking for talented corners, and Texas got one. And a prospect on 3 has ranked as a top 100 player.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. That is big time for these former NFL players to say, I feel comfortable with Sark and that crew down there coaching my kids, because they definitely know what it takes to get to the next level. That's a great point there. Let me ask you this about this past weekend's recruiting trip. I heard about 20 guys were in the 40 acres. You saw all the luxury cars and stuff, at the stadium. And, just the recruiting process is definitely in full effect. I know it's another big time weekend coming up this week. Who else are the Longhorns trying to really close in on? I know the season's about to start in a couple of months for a lot of these high school kids, but where are they at on some of the other big recruits in the nation?
You got to start at the top of the kids who are coming in this weekend, and that's Colin Simmons. He is the number 1 prospect in Texas. He's out of Duncanville, so he's at the Talent Factory. And anybody who has done anything significant over the last few years or in-state programs are after Colin Simmons. Probably a guy who ends up playing in the SEC, but he's been interested in Arizona State, and he even took a trip to SMU last week, right down the road, to go see the hometown school. So a lot of different factors at play. With Simmons, he's probably going to be a guy who ends up playing that weak side defensive end spot. And Texas has to show that, playing that hybrid position that Pete Kwiatkowski likes is going to set you up well for your future in the NFL. And that's a position and responsibilities at that position that are growing more hybrid than just, hey, put your hand down and go get the guy. So that's one to watch. That's a recruitment that's got a long way to go. He's seen several different schools officially over the course of June, and he's someone who's going to take advantage of the new rules and go take some in-season officials as well. LSU seems like big competition, but A&M, Alabama, all the different schools are right there for Colin Simmons, and Texas gets to take their shot at him this week after he's seen Texas, I think, a few times over the course of the spring and even going back to the winter. So we'll have a lot more notes, but that's, you got to start with the guy who's top 5 in the country and at a position of major need. Going to be a big, a telling recruitment in a lot of different senses with what happens with Simmons.
Talking with Joe Cook inside Texas. Joe, I'll duck out of Longhorn stuff for a second. I want to ask you about the Astros. I was with some Astros fans this weekend, not enjoying the matchup with Cincinnati. Lost 4 in a row. It's 5.5 back of the Rangers. And now, of course, the Angels are between the Rangers and Astros in terms of the standings. Give me your thought on this team right now. Another big injury story, obviously, with Alvarez and a big name. Where's your confidence level right now for the Astros?
At this point, and I think I kind of said this, it's like this is a team that just kind of needs to make the wild card at this point and get into the mix, because with injuries to your offense is injured. Let's not
right.
beat around. Your offense is injured right now. He's got a strained oblique and hasn't started swinging a bat yet. One of your relied upon arms that you thought was going to be a factor in Luis Garcia is out for the year. You're still waiting on Michael Brantley. Jose Altuve is still getting into the swing of things. Jose Abreu, he's starting to turn around a little bit, but it's still been a slow start for him. And you're getting nothing from Maldonado, and that kind of brings in the Dusty Baker aspect of it. Is that they're still going with Maldonado, even though Yanir Diaz has done really well. He's still using guys like Montero, even though. And that may be a front office decision, considering they signed him to a 3-year deal before the year. But it's not a team that has a lot of great things going for it right now. They need to get healthy, and I think once they get healthy and have someone like Jordan back in the lineup, and even Michael Brantley back in the lineup, it'll bring a lot more balance. And they just need to. It's one of those baseball things. They just need to see some good things happen, because it doesn't seem like it's been the case. I know the Reds are kind of starting to build a little bit, and they have their hot prospect up. But for a team like the Astros to get swept, that's not what teams who want to win their division or make the playoffs do. And that's exactly what happened. I'm curious to see what happens with the Angels, though. It seems like they may just kind of be in this weird no man's land where they still have Trout, still have Ohtani. Like you said, they're second in the division, but this is kind of uncharted territory for them. They haven't been this good in a while, so I'm very curious to see what happens there, and I'm really curious to see what moves the Astros may try to make, because there's some good talent who may be major league level talent next year with the Astros in their farm system. And I'm not sure if they want to, make some big time trades with those guys a year away, get rid of them to try to bolster a team that's kind of just sneaking into the playoffs right now if they make it. So it's going to be a real trying June and July, I feel like, for the Astros. But they need guys like Fromber to right the ship, and they need guys like Altuve and Abreu to start getting it together and be their normal selves.
Joe, this Texas basketball team, they're still trying to find a couple more guys to finish out this roster. They're trying to look for a 3/wing player that could, kind of a 3-and-D guy. What's it looking like from a recruiting standpoint or from the transfer portal / grad student standpoint? I know Chris Johnson is out there, the freshman coming in that committed to Kansas, who decommitted from there and now is looking at Texas. Any word on him or anybody else?
Yeah, I think Chris Johnson is the name to know at this point. It's kind of one of those things where whenever somebody drops in to the portal, or you have something major like a head coach get fired in June or let go, whatever the term is, that's kind of the big checkpoints for these types of things. So I think, like you said, that's the name to know, and that is the profile of what they're looking for. But I think Rodney Terry can be a little picky. If they don't find that three or that kind of wing that you're talking about, it's not great, but they still have a lineup that they can work with guards, and maybe with Dylan Mitchell changing his game and developing a little bit more of a game to where they can make the missing body not that big of a deal with guys who can fill that role. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on that name you mentioned, and workouts are ongoing. They're starting to put together, you see that on social media, and starting to put together the culture and the chemistry. But Rodney Terry's a type of coach who, as any high major coach has to be, is always on the lookout for something he can add to the roster.
Texas basketball first full season with Rodney Terry as the man coming up this year, and it will be the last before Texas makes that switch into the SEC for basketball. That should be interesting too. Go from a Kansas conference to a Kentucky conference. One big name for another. Joe Cook, Inside Texas, on3.com. He's at Joseph Cook 89 on Twitter. Joe, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the College World Series if you do decide to peek in, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Good stuff there. By the way, it is Tennessee and Stanford today in 2-and-Barbecue game number 2. The loser is done here. The first 2-and-Barbecue team was Virginia yesterday, Stanford and Tennessee. And Stanford out to the early lead. They stopped Tennessee from what could have been a big first inning, and now they have gotten a run across in the bottom of the first. We'll keep you up to date on that one as we roll along. Up next, let's get you a flex segment. We'll talk more about those 2 new commits for Texas football. If you missed any of it, we've got some other stuff locally. Flex athlete headed to a camp this weekend because his team is not in the state 7-on-7, but we will talk about the ones that are and where that's going to be. Plus, Nick Saban can't stop talking about college football, and we do love that on the Horn. It's the time of year of deep conversations on all the shows I can hear. If you are having issues, not with all that stuff, but with sleeping issues, snoring issues, sleep apnea, sinus stuff, allergy stuff, Sinus and Snoring Specialists can help you out. I mentioned earlier I went to see the in-laws this weekend. There is something about that bed always treats me right. Something about the bed, the room I sleep in. I always get a good night's sleep. I always bring my own pillow because I know I need that. And with the Sinus and Snoring Specialist stuff that I had done back in 2017, I know I'm going to sleep well. Dr. Slaughter wants you to be sleeping better as well. So get on in there. He'll meet you in that first consultation. He prides himself on that, and they'll start talking through all the different options they have. For me, it was about getting rid of the allergies, the balloon sinuplasty procedure, and some other things. I had moderate obstructed sleep apnea, but I don't have to worry about that anymore, and I don't worry about the allergies. Don't get those 2 bouts of allergies at least that I used to have every year. So get on in there. Other guys at the station have done it. We told you. We talked about Zay's experience, Jeff Howe's experience, who you just heard on that promo. A lot of different versions of it because everybody's situation is different. Call and set up an appointment today and find out how your situation can be improved with Sinus and Snoring Specialists. 512-601-0303 or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy.
Chad and Zay.
All right, rolling through a Monday. I think I've got it. Isn't this the greatness, one of the greatest Caucasian mullets of all time? Richard Marx?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had a Mount Rushmore of mullets, it'd be tough for him not to be on that list.
Oh, it's a good one. And it was such a good contemporary mullet. It was a mullet everyone could get a hold of.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't too extreme. It was smooth. It was slick. I think Richard
He wasn't trying too hard. It fit him.
I think he's still with Daisy Fuentes, too. God love him. He ended up with Daisy Fuentes. He sold all those albums. Just cruising through life. Richard Marx, Christopher Cross, and Duran Duran. An interesting group already on a Monday. We hope you are having a good one. Happy Juneteenth to all of you out there. Happy College World Series, Tennessee and Stanford, trying to figure out who's going 2 in barbecue and joining Virginia at the barbecue grill. Stanford's up 2-0, and they are in the top of the second right now. So Tennessee in danger of heading home as of this moment. We'll get into that more. Zay mentioned a Mount Rushmore there. We're talking Georgia Mount Rushmore of football. Obviously, Herschel's got to be there. Who else? Do you like the Champ Bailey move? Zay and I both put Champ Bailey on our Georgia Mount Rushmores. Let us know who else you would throw on there. We've gotten a lot of love today for a lot of different folks, from David Pollock to David Green to Stetson Bennett. Zay says Stetson Bennett's got to be on there.
Stetson Bennett.
He is back-to-back quarterback national champs, and the man put up yards. What'd you say, over 4,000 last year? Right?
Wow.
You can't argue that what Monken did with that offense was hide Stetson Bennett. You cannot say that.
No, he went to New York.
Yeah.
He was right there, sitting by C.J. Stroud and them. He was right there.
He was. I went a little more defensive-minded with the back end of mine, but I might have to think about that Stetson Bennett thing if I was going to re-rack everything. Let us know what you think there. Right now, let's get a little flex segment in here. Longhorns had some good recruiting news over the weekend and a couple other things for you.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, we'll start with those commits for Texas. The class is up to 5 guys now in 2024. Santana Wilson, defensive back out of Arizona, and we made that connection for you earlier. The 4-star is the son of Adrian Wilson, who was a stud safety for Arizona with the Cardinals back in the day, so that might make sense why the family ended up in Arizona. And he's going to high school.
There we go.
Santana Wilson, love that name too. Hope he ends up being a stud, because a cool name like that needs to have. That's a good job there by Adrian Wilson. I mean, Santana, it's good. That's very cool.
Wow, I'm trying to think. Did he play with any Santanas? I remember Santana Moss. That was the first Santana I ever heard of a brother getting in any professional sports.
First one I ever heard of was Santana Dotson back in the day.
Okay.
That guy, was Santana Dotson Baylor? I'd have to double check it, but I remember that name back in the day too. I always thought Santana was.
It's a smooth name.
I like the name. Yeah, 6 foot 180 on the defensive side, and then on the offensive side, Freddie Dubose Jr. Cool name as well. Smithson Valley, but before that, he'd been at Schertz, Clements. Everybody's at somewhere else now. Everybody transfers.
Yeah.
So junior year had an ACL, but as we talked about, they say he's come back from that very well. 4-star prospect. Teams like Tennessee, Tech, TCU, A&M, Baylor, UTSA, in no particular order, were all on the offer list, and now Texas gets the commitment, obviously just a verbal now, but there are 5 guys now in the 2024 class. So we hit that as far as big Texas news today. The other quick thing we'll mention, just a bit of good luck to Quintalon Joyner, the quarterback out of Bastrop. He's going to a TCU camp this weekend.
Nice.
This Saturday evening. Bastrop, unless I am mistaken, did not advance to the state 7-on-7. So that's why Quintalon's got a little extra time on his hands, Going to head on up there to Fort Worth and check that camp out. And to all the teams that are going from this area, from San Marcos to Lake Travis to Westlake, and I'm forgetting a couple others, that is going to be Saturday morning, College Station. It starts early, so everybody doesn't.
It better start early.
Yeah, it starts early, so everybody doesn't melt. But it is a lot of fun, man. They go to that one big park area in College Station, and everybody is really spread out. They have a little map so you can go find your teams and follow them around. Zay, the parents show up with the coolers and the lawn chairs, and everybody's got the gear on. And we hung out last year all the way to the end with the DeSoto crew and watched Jonte Cook and Wisner and that group show out, win the thing, and it was just kind of fun to watch, man. It's interesting to see just how connected all the communities are, even at this level. This is summer, 7-on-7, but, man, there's a group of parents and coaches that are just dialed in.
Yeah,
that's
how
awesome.
You build that chemistry early for when fall comes around. You put on those pads, and I think it's very important for those guys to be together because it also builds camaraderie off the field and just the type of bond that you get from a friendship with your teammates, and it makes it that much more special, which you got to have that, like, I'll die for the guy beside me in order to win. Like the whole, we talked about this, guys not liking each other in order to win, like that rarely works. Like, you got to be on Jordan and Pippen's level for that stuff to work. Guys not liking each other in order to, like, win championships. No, it helps if you like the person next to you. It helps you see the person every day. It helps if you like them. And building those bonds early now is huge for what you want to do when December comes around.
Yeah, we'll get you more info as the week goes on the State 7-on-7. And in case you have not heard or you're wondering what maybe a bite to eat you're looking for in College Station, Zay and I would both recommend Lane's Chicken Tenders.
It's easy. It's easy. Don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time. Just go to Lane's. Get extra sauce. Don't trip about the pot pricing.
Extra sauce
get the
is
extra
key.
sauce. Yeah, go in.
Those crinkle fries.
Yo, man.
Oh, man, the potato salad's just so good. So good. All right, we'll hit that later in the week as we go on. Also, let's get some college football in here. Zay, I do love it when Nick Saban says things for no reason. Later, we'll get to a group of people I don't like saying things for no reason, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. I think they need to stop talking, but Saban needs to keep talking. I love when he gets a weird idea in his head and he just thinks it's time for him to go off. And apparently, recently, where do we have him? Was it a podcast, TV show? Where was
Joel Klatt?
I went and hung with Joel Klatt and started rambling about the playoffs.
Yeah, basically bitching about them getting hosed last year in the college football playoff. Nick said, but do you really get the best teams? When they told me that we would be favored against 3 out of the 4 teams that got in the playoff, I'm like, why aren't we in the playoffs? Dude, man.
He's still on it, isn't he?
He's still on it. The season's over. We should be looking forward to 2023, Nick.
Dude,
2022 is over with. Sorry, you didn't make it. And you blew out Kansas State. And it looked like you were pissed off. That team, the way they did Kansas State in that, what was it, Sugar Bowl? They looked like a pissed off team. The whole probably warm up to that game was, hey, fellas, show everybody why we should be in the playoff. And they beat the brakes off Will Howard and them. So a part of me gets what he's saying, but with Ohio State only losing 1 game last year to Michigan being undefeated to that point, TCU, yeah, they lost to Kansas State, but they deserve to be there. Who's he talking about? Like, yes, maybe they would have been favored, but that doesn't mean they deserved it with the losses that they had against Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the math is just really simple. He can say all of that he wants, and would I have favored his team against maybe 1 or 2 of those teams, maybe 3? Possibly. That's not the point, though. No team that has lost 2 games has ever been in this version of the playoff. Ever. They were one of those everybody was thinking of, and there were other scenarios that could have created it. It's just never happened. You can't lose 2 games and get in this 4-team playoff.
Especially 2 teams they lost to were teams that didn't make the playoff. Like Ohio State lost to Michigan. They were in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you lose 1 game with TCU, It was against Kansas State, who won the Big 12. Like, it wasn't during the regular season. It was the team that won the Big 12.
Yeah, who was it?
So you lost to LSU
Yep.
and Tennessee.
That's who it was.
Both teams didn't make the playoff. Where are we arguing, Nick?
Yeah. And they, and in your badass non-conference game, you came to Austin and you damn near lost that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Again, I love when he gets fired up about it. This needed to be an argument for him about expanding a playoff, and that's what he should be focused on here, because they are a team that is a perfect example of you can still lose 2 games and be dangerous.
Right.
That's all I care about at the end of a football season. I don't need some historic team that's undefeated every year. No. We're going to have teams that are 1 loss, 2 loss, maybe even 3 loss teams that you better just watch out for. And that's what's going to be so cool about it to me, Zay, is the legitimacy of it, the organic football quality of it. Because I would not have wanted to mess with that team by the end of last year. And they're going to get a shot now, just like a whole bunch of other teams will.
And you're exactly right, Chad. Like, he's feeling that. He knows that he had a once-in-a-lifetime player in Bryce Young, and they got 0 championships out of that. They might have beat the champs in Georgia 2021, but when they played them again, rolled.
Right.
They got rolled.
Didn't win the right game.
Didn't win the right game.
Didn't win that last one.
So he's over here like, man, I will never have another player like that for the rest of my career. Well, he might, because it's Alabama. But Bryce Young is a special guy. And he knows the opportunity was there, and they didn't get it done.
Yeah,
And he's like, and it sucks, but go cry me a river with all your other championship rings. Like, I'm not really trying to hear it. It will change very soon. And he knows this year that his quarterback situation ain't the best. So it's a huge possibility that they'll lose 2 games again and get hosed out in his eyes again.
Yeah, but at least now moving forward, and you're right, it could bite him one more time. And then next year, he'll get to the expanded version of it. But I'm sorry, in this system, his argument is not what they should be thinking of. Okay, guys, we got these teams with 1 and no loss. So, okay, but if you played them on a neutral field and whatever, like, I sort of like the thinking, but that's not how the committee does it.
No,
they've never done it that way. Maybe we will see it this last year of the 4-team playoff, a 2-loss team that actually gets in. Maybe it will be Saban's group, but I thought they did the right thing last year. I was nervous about it. I really did think they were going to leave somebody out. I thought TCU might be the one to get screwed. As we were leading up to it, I thought, oh, Lord, they had just lost the game. Yeah. And it was primed to be done to them. Thankfully, the committee did the right thing, in my opinion. We'll see what they do this year. And we will see come July, when SEC shows up for their media days, what things Nick wants to complain about.
Well, Chad, think about it like this. Look at the national championship game and how TCU got absolutely blasted, boy. And Saban's probably like, told you.
Right. Yeah.
We would have beat them just like that, too. I don't know if it would have been like that, but he's probably thinking, we match up with Georgia way better than what TCU did. They should have been the ones out. And he probably thought the Big 12 was a little watered down this year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, his losses were a 3-point loss at Knoxville and an overtime loss in Death Valley, Baton Rouge. That's how it works. You can't lose 2, Nick.
It's tough.
Sorry. Would I love, as an Aggie fan, to see the Johnny Manziel team in an expanded playoff? Of course I would. That's not how it works. They lost 2. Once it happened, done. Florida beat them. LSU beat them. Game over. You don't get to go to this playoff if you lose 2 games.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right now it's math. Later on it can be other stuff with the expanded, and then Nick can have all that he wants, and that's going to be fun because we're going to get some champs that really, really earn it in a whole different way.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait for that expanded playoff. All right, coming up, we'll get back into that Georgia Mount Rushmore discussion at 2. Also, another Cowboy maybe saying too much, according to me, but the rest of y'all are probably good with it. We'll get you those comments. Up next, where are we at in society? We'll see what Zay's got for us. We are rolling on a Monday. Hope you're having a good one. Stay cool and dry and in the shade if you can. It's going to be a blazer today. This is The Horn. All right, let's talk a little Apple leasing. My goodness, this kind of weather reminds you about how important a dependable car is. By the way, double check your coolant and everything right now, as hot as it is out there. Please be careful. But if you are in an old, beat-up car with a bad air conditioner, maybe it just gave out, maybe you know it's about to give out, might be time for a new car. Might be time for that upgrade. Any make, any model, any car, truck, SUV, whatever it is you're thinking of, maybe it's just finally time to get that dream vehicle. Apple Leasing can help you do it. It's the easiest and safest way to get in that new car. Call 346-9977. You get the process started that way with just a simple phone call. In fact, for me, it was 2 or 3 phone calls and everything was pretty much taken care of. You're going to sign everything electronically with DocuSign. That is easy. And remember, they look for all the rebates and all the sales and all the discounts and incentives that the dealers can get for you. But Apple Leasing goes out to all of their connections with dealerships to find those options for you and save you all that time and money. And let's face it, all that time at a hot dealership right now in 100-degree weather, yeah, you want to avoid that too. 346-9977. Tell them we said hey here at the Horn and get online. Get on the phone and find out more, or you can get online and find out more at appleleasing.com.
Chad and Zay.
Alrighty, rolling through a Monday. I do not have this one. Sounds like one I maybe should know, but I do not. What you got, Zay?
Toto?
Toto. All right, it's not a Toto song I'm familiar with. What's it called?
St. George and the Dragon.
St. George and the Dragon. All right. Go ahead, Toto. Toto, Richard Marx, Christopher Cross, and Duran Duran getting us started today musically. We hope you are having a great Monday. Happy Juneteenth. Stay cool out there. Get some shade out there if you can. If you're starting a vacation or ending a vacation, we hope everything goes well. Somebody texting us earlier, they're headed to Port A, and it's going to be like mid-90s every day. Every day. Oof. Yeah, it's going to be that. So it's probably good to be at the beach. We got some guys on vacation this week. We'll have vacations kind of interspersed throughout the summer as we head towards football season. Well-deserved vacations for guys around here, including Zay, who was going on his honeymoon next week officially. Yeah. I'm definitely excited about that. For Zay.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up Patrick Davis, and on Friday, I'm just going to be checked out. I might not even come in with a shirt on. That's how, on vacation I will be. Just do the whole show, zero shirt and some swim trunks.
For me, could you just put something on? I mean, maybe a towel. Go boxer coming to the ring, something.
With the towel? Okay, maybe I can do that. We'll see.
Let me just say, I don't feel comfortable doing a show.
We're not in the same room, though.
I know, but I just don't want to see another man's nipples while doing this show.
You ain't got to look.
I gotta look.
I'm comfortable.
I need to look at you to do the show. I can't be looking this way in terms. So, Zay, come on, man.
Keep that head high, man.
All right. Maybe pasties. What about pasties? Would you consider that?
I know I'm getting some LBs, but I don't think I need those yet. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so we got a lot going on around here. Talked about some of the NBA news of the day. Are the Suns getting a little closer to Bradley Beal and moving CP3? They're trying to figure out maybe a third team to get CP3 to an actual team and not Washington. We've also talked Georgia Mount Rushmore. We'll continue to do that coming right up. Plus, there's another Cowboy that has some thoughts, some big thoughts about the 2023 season. We'll get to that. But right now, let's go where we at in society, see what Zay's got for us.
Where are we at in society today?
All right, Zay. Oh, I see something on my Twitter DMs. I am the master of the Twitter DM.
Yeah.
Is that where I need to go here?
Yeah, go to the DMs, man.
All
All right, so the kid will paint the picture for you. We'll play the audio, but I need everybody on the Specs text line who's listening that could help us out here. And Chad, you let me know, is this kid smart or is he bad as hell?
All right.
And remember, I don't necessarily know where this kid is located, but remember the heat that we're in right now. Just keep that in mind. The heat that we're in.
Okay.
The heat advisory, get inside. It could be serious if you're outside for a certain amount of time. So, again, after you listen to the audio and you watch the video, let me know, is the kid bad as hell or is he smart? Here we go.
Okay.
Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to show you how to get out of football practice by stabbing your dad's tire. If you really want to get out of football practice for the weekend, stab both tires.
Oh, my God. Oh. Wow, Zay.
Oh, my goodness.
Zay, you are going to turn me into a These Kids Today old man in 2 seconds with a story like this. By the way, Zay is at ain'tthat_Zay if you want to see it. I'm at C Hastings 1049. I just retweeted it. Wow. I am all Zay, I was not raised with a lot of whippings. I was not raised with a lot of physicality. Got one spanking my whole life.
Damn, that's it?
From either parent.
Wow.
And it was from my mother.
Wow.
Broke her heart, but she had to do it. I deserved it. My dad never spanked me. Spanked my brother a little bit, but then I learned my lesson. I didn't want any of that mess, so he never spanked me. But wow, the lack of regard for lots of stuff in that situation is staggering. That kid needs some serious discipline minimum. Probably needs to be locked inside the house for a while. And I know one thing for certain. Maybe he's so young he can't pay for that next tire or that, repair or whatever. That kid's changing a tire pretty quick. You know what, kid? You're going to help me change both tires right now. Oh, dude.
I might owe Adrian Peterson a serious apology. Because, this kid, for one, Chad, because it's hot as hell. That's why I tried to, let y'all know, like, it's hot as hell. So a part of me gets, like, football practice in this heat. I don't know what time it was, but it's kids, so you have to wait till all parents get off work and stuff like that. So it could be maybe 6 o'clock up in the 3 digits. This kid's bad as hell. Like, talk to dad. Let dad know, like, Pops, somebody lit my ass up in the Oklahoma drill.
Lie.
I can't do it.
Tell a lie. Say you're sick.
Yeah, I hurt my ankle.
Every excuse. Cry. Limp. Say you can't find your cleats.
Pop the tires of the whip.
Twice.
And
then run. The laugh is the key, too. We all can hear that laugh. Some of us maybe even have created that laugh at some point. That is a total lack of disregard for what is going on. That is anarchy. That is a menace, and that needs to be punished severely.
Because he's smart, too. He said, you don't want to go to football practice for the whole weekend? Pop 2 tires.
That's wrong.
We're going to be worried about this all week. Dad ain't going to be able to take me.
No.
How can he?
No.
We ain't got no ride. Yo, man, football practice, I get it. It's hot. It could be tough. You could get lit up, but come on, son. You got me saying son to these youngsters. Like, come on.
That's going to lead to the Chris Rock line. I don't agree necessarily, but I understand. You got to be kidding me.
Baby kids, man.
And also, I didn't get the best look possible. That looked like a pretty badass, like, truck. Is that what I'm seeing? Like a pickup truck? Or an SUV?
I didn't get a good look either.
Dude, that looked like I'm not trying to. It's bad either way. Okay, it's bad either way. But if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check this.
Yeah, it looks like a truck.
It looks like a truck, right?
Yeah. How old do you think this kid is? 10 at least.
No way he's 12.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 10 to 12.
I say 10. Yeah.
Feels like a truck. Feels like that might. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a new tire or not. But it looks like a pretty new tire. You just knifed 2 new tires on a badass truck like that. At least it's more badass than you are. I know that. Good grief. That's so wrong. Oh, my God. That's so terrible.
Football practice that bad, though? I heard football practice is fun.
Whole family just needs to stop and figure out what has created that kid. Something has created that kid. I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if that's dad's fault, uncle's fault, aunt's fault, mom's fault, granny's fault, his fault, everybody. It takes a village's fault. Something's wrong.
Yeah, because being at the tire shop isn't the funnest thing. Like, that could take hours.
Here's the next thing I do. After he helps change both tires, you see that hair he's walking around with? Yeah, we're going to get all of that taken out.
Like a fro?
All of that.
Like, give him a fro because he has braids.
Right. What are we
saying here?
No, I'm saying take all the braids out.
Okay.
Take him to the place where he gets it done. Make him go through the every second process of getting it undone and tell him it never will be done again. Deal with whatever your hair is because you don't have enough respect for yourself or us or our rules. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to walk around with that hair and you're changing every tire in this family for 5 years. How about that, Junior? You still want to play football? Or do you want to play video games? I got to go to work to pay for some new tires.
I love how one of the punishments is unbraid the kid's hair and just let it go free and nappy.
Kid needs to learn details. The kid needs to learn details.
I mean, that does fall back on the parents because now folks are just going to think they kid's raggedy for having a raggedy-ass fro.
I would just ask the question of them, how long does it take to get his hair like that?
Oh, that's a smooth 2 hours.
How much
yeah.
money does it take to get his hair like that?
Probably a grip too. Probably some arthritis and whoever does its hands also.
I'm just asking, if we don't get the hair done, can I pay for one of those tires? That's what I'm asking.
Wow.
Can we at least make it? Kids got to understand the money part of this at some point. The money, the respect, the trouble you are causing. You're vandalizing your own car?
Yo, this makes baby Gronk look like a valedictorian.
Oh, my God. That's a disturbing story, man. That is truly disturbing. You really have turned me into the old man today. Oh, my God. I'm trying to imagine my granddad. Do you know how many objects my granddad would have thrown at me if I did something like that? He was not a violent man. He never spanked me, not once. But if I tried something like that, dude, he might have thrown the jack at me. And I don't mean a playing card. I mean the jack that jacked up the pickup. He might have thrown the whole thing at me. My God.
It's a different time, man, because never in my life those things ever occurred to me as a kid.
Right.
Like ruining anything of my parents, because I thought about my life. Like,
Right.
I was like, yo, I don't want no whooping.
Would that ever?
I don't want to be grounded. Like, I like my life. It's a lot of fun. You know, I could tell my folks, hey, football ain't for me. Baseball, soccer ain't for me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Cece would
God.
tell me all the time, I would just have bad games, Chad. Do you want to play this game? I'm like, Dad, I went 0 for 6 from 3 today. I definitely want to play. He was like, yo, you got to get some things together. You got to take this game seriously. And I understood that.
Oh.
I ain't trying to slash tires after he told me that I had a bad practice.
What happens if you bury a knife in CeCe Collier's tire on purpose?
Ooh.
And video it and send it to everybody?
Yeah. Cece be in jail.
Come on, man.
Cece probably be in jail
Here's
for going after me.
This is also, you could never actually mean it, but the last thing I'd tell that kid is, by the way, next time you think to stab one of my tires, when you start running, you better not stop. You better have a place to stay that night. You better have a plan, and you better have a job on the other end of that. Because you're not under my roof anymore if you start running from that. You're going to sleep in a shed. You're going to sleep in a doghouse. You're going to sleep in that car that you just stabbed the tires of. But you're not sleeping in my house if you're going to disrespect us to that level. Sorry.
That's a badass kid, man. And he filmed it.
Make you a bed on the roof.
Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing to do it, but film it?
Oh, yeah. Film it and laugh.
Film it and laugh?
Oh, come on. That's, well,
And it went viral so everybody could see how bad the kid is and how bad of a parent you are.
it's such a terrible thing. That is bad. Father's Day weekend. Oh, my God. That is so bad on every level. Oh, my goodness. We may be losing as a species, ladies and gentlemen. All right, coming up, your 2 o'clock hour, that Georgia Mount Rushmore, plus another Cowboy, maybe saying a little bit too much. You be the judge. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, I love the beats when they bring in the bells and the chimes, and it just kind of gets like a mood going. I love it. Hour number 3 on a Monday. We might need some mood over these next 3 days because it's going to be 105, 7, whatever degrees is going to be out there. Please be careful. Stay cool if you can. It's Chad and Zay. I'm Chad Hastings. He's Isaiah Collier. Picks out a beat to start every third hour. What do you got, Zay?
R.I.P. to Big Pokey, who passed away this weekend. This is Big Pokey and Big Mo. R.I.P. to Big Mo, too, who hasn't been with us for a while. Southside rolling on choppers. Big Pokey's from H-Town.
Okay.
Part of the Screwed Up Clique, DJ Screw and all those guys. And, yeah, rest in power.
So that might explain why it's got its kind of
Oh, yeah.
got that deliberate smoothness. Yeah.
H-Town groove. Yeah.
Big Pokey. Okay. That's a great little beat. What's it called?
Southside on choppers.
Southside on choppers. Okay. Good.
Southside roll on choppers.
Roll on choppers. Okay. We got a quick update for you from Omaha. I know it hurts Longhorn fans, like it hurts for Aggie fans or anybody else that felt like their team might be good enough to get there. Stanford and Tennessee were good enough to get there, but somebody's going home today. Stanford's up 4-0. Tennessee better get going. Top of the 4th. Stanford up 4-0. Loser goes home, and Virginia has already gone 2 in barbecue. TCU and Oral Roberts will play tomorrow in an elimination game, and your first 2-0 team is Florida. They beat Oral Roberts last night 5-4. Tonight we'll get our second 2-0 team with it that'll move into a great spot, and what a matchup. LSU, Wake Forest, 6 o'clock tonight. If you're going to peek into the College World Series, that's the game, Zay, because Wake's been the best team pretty much all year. But if they're not, there are some that believe series for series, moment for moment, LSU may have an argument to be the best as well.
Yeah, and I'm like Joe, it's so hard to watch. Like, I click on it, I see a pitch or so, and I just flip the channel, like, dadgummit, I can't believe we're not there. Again, just what happened in Palo Alto is still tragic, and one of those things that will take a very long time to, hell, maybe ever to get over, but, hey, shout out to the teams that are doing their thing there. And, yeah, Wake Forest, just seeing them lose will be an amazing feat for whoever beats them.
Yeah. You don't think of it while it's going on, but as a fan, long term, it's better to just lose. Flat out lose, multiple runs, than lose crazy like that.
Yeah.
And I can speak on, as a Rangers fan, those back-to-back World Series losses. You know the one that haunts me and the one that doesn't.
Right.
I don't wake up at night thinking of Tim Lincecum.
Yeah, because he was good.
That doesn't happen.
Right.
That was a 5-game series, if I'm not mistaken.
Like Bumgarner and all those guys.
Right.
Those guys are nice. Those guys.
What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do?
Bumgarner, those dudes were nice with it.
No, it's the one where it was right in your hand and you lose it. That's when it was tough. So we'll keep you up to date on that game as we go through. We've got the NBA stories of the day. Draymond opts out, but may still end up in Golden State. The Suns may be moving Chris Paul, trying to find a third team to get involved, but looks like Bradley Beal might be headed to the Suns. Plus, we are talking football today, including our Georgia Mount Rushmore discussion. I went with Herschel Walker. I went old school with Frank Sinkwitz. Look up his name, the other Heisman winner. He was a badass in the 40s. I went David Pollock and Champ Bailey. Zay has thrown in Stetson Bennett on his Mount Rushmore.
Had to, baby.
Back-to-back jewelry.
And he wasn't going to class.
Back-to-back jewelry. What do you mean he wasn't going to class?
He didn't graduate. He was there for 6 years. Still has no diploma. 0.
Tough courses.
One going to class, obviously. Or just taking, like, the 12 that you have to take. That's it.
Yeah.
Summer school, not really doing much. Yeah. But it ain't about that. It's about what he did on the field.
He did do a lot on the field. So throw us some Georgia names if you have them. Charlie Trippy is a guy back in the day that went both ways for them as a badass. Jake Scott, the defensive back. Fran Tarkenton, Georgia Bulldog, from back in the day as well. And Hines Ward got some love from Zay earlier as well. Hines did it all. Hines and Champ both. If you could have put Hines and or either one of them, or Champ, in a different era of offensive football, because Georgia was just trying to grind you into the ground back then, it could be different. Champ Bailey absolutely would have gone to New York. Minimum. If you don't have, I mean, listen to these numbers, Zay. This is crazy. Senior year, 52 tackles, 3 interceptions, 7 passes defended. He caught 47 for 744 and 5 touchdowns, ran for 84 yards on 16 carries, and had 261 kickoff return yards and 49 punt return yards.
Whew.
Yeah. Got the Nagurski Trophy that year, consensus All-American.
So cold.
And made that Georgia uniform look pretty badass.
He did. He rocked that single-digit number.
He looked good.
He looked really good. And, yeah, back to Champ, though. Chad, just like, I don't think he still gets the recognition he deserves because he was a quiet guy. Like, he wasn't always talking mess or, getting into it with people, fighting on the field. He just went about his business with the Redskins and then the Broncos and quietly had one of the best careers that we've ever seen from a cornerback, not named Deion Sanders.
Yeah, he was kind of a monster gentleman.
Yeah.
Handsome dude with that face, that smile.
That baby face.
Just always felt like his demeanor was even keel.
Right.
Always had that kind of, almost had like Darryl Green, and he felt like they had the same personality to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mild-mannered, nice guy, probably doing like everything in the community possible. They'd stop and help you change the tire when the kid stabs it. And then, but when it's time to play, they're going to kill you.
I've seen Champ Bailey interviews and stuff when he was at the beginning of his career. That's when Darryl Green was at the ends in Washington. And he says he learned a lot of how to be a pro from Darryl Green. So that's a great point, and that makes a lot of sense of why he kind of carried himself like a Darryl Green did.
Georgia, obviously one of the badass blue bloods in college football. Now with these back-to-back titles, increasing the, just kind of that branding that they have. And, of course, in 2024, Georgia will come to Austin, and those 2 uniforms, those 2 helmets, and those 2 football entities will get together. And Longhorn fans will not want to hear about one of those matchups, but they will want to hear about another one of those matchups. They want to hear about the Bevo versus Uga game.
Yeah.
They do not want to hear about something that happened at the Cotton Bowl. No. They do not want to hear about that. I remember watching that as a kid, and I could feel my heart break for Texas. And I was an Aggie watching that game going, oh, my God. Did they just – wow. Holy – like, that's terrible.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's talk about the back Sam Ehlinger game.
Exactly. That's the game where Texas pushed Georgia around because they weren't focused.
Yeah.
Pitiful. Hopefully they're focused as they come to Austin.
Hopefully we don't take that when we go to the SEC and don't get to where we think we should be.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, we are the 13th team. And, like, whatever bowl game we get to and we lose, we start making excuses of, we thought we should have been the 12th team. Like, that's so weak. Like, I'd rather be like Nick Saban, and if we were the bitch, cool, but show me that you're pissed off when you play somebody like how when they blew the doors off of Kansas State.
Absolutely.
Like, show me that way. Don't go out here and lay an egg because you're salty that you didn't get in the playoff. Like, I'm not trying to see that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that Georgia fans allowed that excuse to happen. The players didn't really do it that much, but the fan base, it felt like, and the media let that excuse happen.
Have more pride.
Kirby tried to fight it, but it was just kind of a tough thing to fight. If you're Georgia and you weren't ready for the Sugar Bowl, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You have a large problem if that's your issue. So I agree with you. Yeah, hopefully those excuses go away with new scheduling, expanded playoffs. An SEC team didn't want to play in New Orleans.
So soft.
Come on, man.
So soft.
We can't do that stuff. So we're talking Georgia Mount Rushmore today, Herschel and the rest. You got to have that one slot. And then again, remember, we're keeping coaches out of these Mount Rushmore discussions to leave a spot for an extra player. Speaking of players, let's go to the pros. We are 80 even days away. 80 days till the first NFL game, 83 days till the first Sunday, meaning that first Cowboy game and the first big Sunday of games. Zay, I feel like every day I walk in here and you tell me about another Cowboy running his mouth.
It's not running his mouth.
When I don't feel like he needs to. You're going to turn me into
you're
really turning me into the old man today. All right, so it was not Parsons this time, but it was a defensive player.
And it's not that bad. I feel
Okay,
like your PTSD of not winning in a long time or getting to that big game has just corrupted your mind. Just always think the worst. You need to think more positive.
It is possible that.
I think it's bad.
I'm worn down.
Yeah, because these guys are thinking positively.
Okay.
Like the whole roster, including new corner Stephon Gilmore, they're all thinking the way that they should. They're very confident. They know the roster that Steven and Jerry have built. They know the people that they have drafted. And what he said about his quarterback, Dak Prescott, was anytime you have a quarterback like that, you got a chance to go all the way.
Oh, man.
So the leader in interceptions, obviously everybody thinks high of him, and I get it. Last year wasn't the best season, but over the course of Dak's career, he's shown that he can play some really good football. And yes, he is not that same Dak Prescott before his foot got turned around, but with the right pieces around him, you could have a really good quarterback that could get you to that game and maybe win it. And I like that somebody as good as Stephon Gilmore is, with all the credentials, the Pro Bowls, Defensive Player of the Year, playing with Tom Brady, he ain't going to say this if it ain't for real, or if he doesn't think he's, he wouldn't be blowing smoke like this. That's what I'm saying.
So for you, you're going to tie this in just like you did with the Brandon Cooks comment, where when Brandon Cooks talks about it, and he's been with some great quarterbacks, we take that as a huge compliment. We think his eyeball test we could believe it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Gilmore. If Gilmore's been out there in practice against Tom Brady and he sees something or feels something about Dak Prescott that makes him say, hey, with a quarterback like that, I feel like we can go all the way.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'll
calm down.
Look.
I'll try to breathe.
Look, I think
he didn't say they would go all the way.
Right.
He didn't make it a guarantee.
He didn't make it a guaranteed. He's not comparing them to the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens or anything.
He didn't even say he reminds me of Tom Brady.
No,
he didn't do that.
He didn't say any of that.
Okay.
He just said anytime you have a quarterback like that, you got a chance to go all the way. So think about all of the positive things that we've heard his teammates say about Dak. Even guys that haven't even played with him yet are saying these things. So yes, 2022 wasn't the best, but they still were one game away from the NFC Championship. And I think that it's just so easy to look at all of the interceptions and blame him for that instead of blaming a little bit on Kellen Moore, blaming it on guys not catching the ball. Hell, there was literally a drop pass to win the game for the Jags this past season, interception pick 6. You know what I'm saying? So there were like a lot of times where they weren't all Dak's fault. And I think he's going to come back motivated. I think that it was a little disrespectful, even though it might be true for Big Mike to say, oh, we're going to be a run-first offense now. Again, I think he's pushing the right buttons and letting Dak Prescott know, yo, dog, any way that we can motivate you to come back next season, we're going to do that. Even if you feel like we're disrespecting you. Hopefully you could use that as fuel and come back even better than you were last year. And hopefully you could stay healthy. Dak hasn't been healthy throughout the full season. And how long? Something always happens with his thumb or his foot, or something always happens. So if he can stay healthy the whole season, then I think the Dallas Cowboys have a lot to be excited about.
Cowboys, 83 days away. I get what you're saying. There's that's a separate discussion in the NFL. How many quarterbacks can you really say that about? What he said about Dak, how many can you say that about in the NFL? As long as you have blank, you feel like you can go all the way. How long is that list? Are there 10 of them in the league right now? As long as you have blank, you feel like you can go all the way. We know some of the obvious. I would say that about Mahomes, and I would say it about Aaron Rodgers, because we've literally seen them do it.
Right.
Do you have to have actually taken a team to the Super Bowl so you could legitimately say it? Or could it be, can you say it about Josh Allen? Could you say it about, we know it hurts. They took him to the Super Bowl. He's in that category too. But could you say it about a Josh Allen, Dak, who else?
I mean, Burrow hasn't won it, but he's taken his team there.
Right, Burrow's been there, so he's in that other group. He's actually been in the game.
Yeah.
So that's an obvious one. But then how many total guys would you be able to confidently say that? Like, do people in purple say that about Kirk Cousins?
I doubt it. But then you look at another point. If guys like Jimmy Garoppolo can get their team to the Super Bowl, why not Dak?
Wow. That's a heavy conversation right there.
I'm just saying, like, why, I get it. The dude's a looker, but he's been kind of just above average at times.
Yeah, Garoppolo might be in that category, almost like a Flacco, where you'd have to say it the opposite way. Like, even though he's been there, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If you can get all the way with him right now. Like, just him. Just saying you have Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, I need to know a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I am with Dak. As much as I love the Cowboys, I'm a Cowboys fan my whole life, but I don't know if he, by himself, is enough to go, oh, man, as long as you got 4, you've got a shot at the whole thing.
Absolutely not.
I just think it's a lot more complex than that.
He's not. And I think Brandon Cook knows and Stephon Gilmore knows with the addition of those two and the squad that they already have, you could say that about Dak. With the guys around him and a guy like him who, could dink and dunk and sometimes throw a pretty good pass and sometimes get himself in trouble with the right people around him, he might not have to get in trouble like he once did.
Yeah, that's true.
And we might have that this year
when you say it like
2023.
When you say it like that, it doesn't sound as demonstrative, does it? Yeah. They're not going to say it that way. I'd rather them say it that way, but they said it the other way. That's fair.
Matt Stafford, somebody expects I just threw his name out there. Like, we just talked about his record. He has a losing record for his career. A losing record, but he's a Super Bowl champion.
He's won a Super Bowl. Yeah. So could you say that about him, right? Oh, you got Matt Stafford. You got a chance to win it all. That's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. All right, coming up, we will get you why today matters on this June 19th, little Juneteenth talk, but also some big names in the world of sports. And one name, one of my favorites of all time, has a birthday today, and we'll talk about the person that ruined her birthday for all of us. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
You get a quick check on that one. Quick check. All right, this one I know. This would be 50 Cent.
That's right.
Great album. That's the big breakthrough album, right?
Yep. Get rich or die trying.
There you go. Get rich or die trying. 50 Cent, Toto, Richard Marx, Christopher Cross, Duran Duran. They've all been on the show today. Plus that Big Pokey beat to start the third hour was
R.I.P.
great.
Pokey.
Just died this weekend?
Yeah, man.
Was it, like crazy tragic death? Or was
Yes,
it?
he was performing and then passed out.
What?
Yes, there's video and everything.
Like on stage?
It's really sad.
Say?
It's terrible.
That's awful. Like he had a heart attack while performing or something?
It looked like it.
That's
Yeah.
terrible. Oh, that's awful. Rest in peace, Big Pokey. That's a terrible story. So a lot of stuff going on today on this Monday. Happy Juneteenth. We'll get into a little bit of that discussion. There's big birthdays to hit today, including a birthday that I just don't feel like we can appreciate enough anymore because of somebody that she used to work with. Let's get to it with Why Today Matters. And let me be very clear, this is not her fault because she is a good Texas girl. She was born in Houston. She ended up attending Howard University, one of the legendary HBCUs in this country. She became America's mom in the 80s. And then we found out later about Bill Cosby. So somehow the birthday of Felicia Rashad just doesn't feel the same to me. But she is 75 today. Happy birthday to Felicia Rashad. I understand when Cosby got let out of jail, she tweeted out some kind of thing about justice was done and whatever. The woman,
Wait, what?
The woman has obviously she does not want to believe any of the stuff. She's kind of on that side of things. Unfortunately, I feel bad about that. But I've always loved Felicia, so we'll give her a shout out on her birthday.
One of the goats of sitcom moms in the history.
And we can't see that anymore on TV. He took that away from us. He took her sexy ass away from us on television, dancing to those songs, wearing all those great clothes, the beautiful hair.
The shoulder pads would be on point, too, with the outfits.
Oh, that incredible smile, all the great discipline she was handing out to the kids. Woo! That episode where she's lecturing Vanessa about going to that concert in Baltimore, one of the sexiest things I've ever seen in my life on TV. And now we can't watch it.
Now you know who's a goat? Ahmad Rashad.
Oh, Ahmad.
Bagging her.
One of the great, not the way I'd have done it, but if you're going to go on TV and propose on national television, make sure she says yes. And she did.
He did it on the Cosby Show?
No, he did it on
Inside Stuff?
He did it on the pregame show of the NFL.
Wow.
Yep.
What game?
It was her.
Remember?
No, they were at the desk.
Oh, the desk.
At the desk, it was like him and Bob Costas, I think. They bring her on. She looked incredible because she's Felicia Rashad.
Yeah.
She's Felicia Ayers Allen, I guess, at the time. Felicia Allen or Ayers Allen, one of the two. And then he brings her up there, and they're sitting there, and he proposes.
Wow.
She says yes, right there on TV.
Now, one of the worst things Ahmad Rashad's done, his groomsmen was Bill Cosby and O.J. Simpson.
Is that right?
Yes.
Ooh. You think he still has those on the wall? Dang.
Oh, you keep those pictures. You keep those photos.
Tell me at least the other one was Michael Jordan or something.
I don't know if Mike was.
Because I know
they're tight, though.
He and Mike are close, so maybe, I would hope. Happy birthday to Felicia Rashad.
Which, if
today.
you think about it, it's cool basketball-wise, but as a friend, do you really want the cheating, gambling addict Jordan being your friend, you know?
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's probably maybe not the best.
Maybe not the best.
Because there's no telling what Michael says about Ahmad Rashad behind his back. He probably says the rudest things on earth about Ahmad Rashad. That's got to be a weird friendship. You're right. Today is also the birthday of Lou Gehrig. He would have been 120 today, died back in the 40s. But if you have not done it already, go look up some of the specifics of Lou Gehrig. And please stop worshiping that record of his. And please stop worshiping Cal Ripken breaking that record of his. Lou Gehrig had multiple incidents of losing consciousness during games. He once was out for 5 minutes during a game, and they revived him and he kept playing, or he played the next day. At some point during his streak, the owner of the team, Zay, made up a rain delay because he had the flu. It didn't even rain.
Wow.
Like, that's part of the streak. So stop canonizing that like it's some incredible thing. I'm not saying it's why he developed the condition that has now got his name on it, but man, he had some bad moments. They didn't have batting helmets. He get hit in the head, damn near get knocked out, keep playing. Get hit and get knocked out, keep playing. Over and over again.
Wow.
He once slid into a base and he was knocked out for 5 solid minutes.
For sliding?
And then he was playing the next day. Yeah.
Mm.
No, again, no batting helmets.
Right.
Batting helmets back then. Crazy. Also on the birthday front today, you got Ann Wilson of Heart musically with a birthday. Paula Abdul, 61 today.
Yo, underrated.
Still looking great. All right, Zay, it is Macklemore's 40th birthday. Give me your thought on Macklemore. Other than the fact that he won a Grammy, you don't think he should win.
I mean,
do you have any respect?
Hip-hop.
Do you have any respect for the stuff?
Yeah, I respect it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not good music. It's just not hip hop.
What do you call what Macklemore does?
Poppy? Like pop?
Pop rap?
I guess.
Pop hip hop?
I guess. Yeah.
Pop hop? Pop hop doesn't sound like something you want to be a part of.
I mean, it's the closest thing. It's not rock. It's not blues or anything. Like, he's rapping. It's just, here we go back. This is the moment, the night. That's just, I don't know. I hope he's doing well.
Black Eyed Peas rap?
No, they're close to though. They're on the fence.
They're on that thing.
Yeah.
Happy 40 today to Macklemore. Also, here's a weird double birthday for you. Exactly the same age. Dirk Nowitzki and Zoe Saldana are both 45 today.
Interesting.
So the green hottie from Guardians of the Galaxy and Dirk, who definitely looked good in the green and blue, winning the title in 2011, exactly the same age.
Wow.
How about that? 45 years old for those two today.
Dirk's wife looks like Zoe Zendalo. What's her name? Zoe
Saldana? Oh, does she?
I don't know that much, but I know she's a sister.
Okay, I haven't seen Dirk's wife lately.
Dirk does very well.
Yes, well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I miss watching Dirk play.
I do too. You think you do?
Yo, people forget he's top 10 in scoring.
Yeah.
He got buckets. That fadeaway, I'll never forget on that run, that 2011 run, when, obviously you remember against the Heat in the finals, but the way he made Serge Ibaka look at the time, and Serge Ibaka was like the new big thing, like top defender in the league. People were giving him that crown that early. And he made Serge Ibaka look like rump roast. Just all jumpers, too, all mid-range, just in that same wing spot where he'd catch it and reverse pivot, and the shot clock would go down about 10 seconds, and all Dirk did was jab and pump for about 10 seconds, and all of a sudden, he'd rise up, and it looked like a good contest. No, it wasn't. It was never a good contest. It was that ball be behind his head, perfect form. It would go like 20 feet in the air, and it would hit nothing but net. Like, Dirk was an absolute craftsman, and I missed the hell out of him. He was so cold.
He kind of had that unblockable release like Larry Bird.
Yeah.
And when Jokic takes those threes every once in a while, if it doesn't remind me of Larry, sometimes it does remind me of Dirk.
Yeah. When he shoots that fadeaway in the post, a couple of moves, like, it didn't matter. And just Dirk, his form, it was different. Like, it was so beautiful, but him being 7 foot, it was a lot like Larry, but it was just a lot more modern and more like guard-like. And then just his ability to put the ball on the deck and stuff. D, not the best, wasn't going to win any Defensive Player of the Year awards, but he'll outscore you. That's
he definitely will. No doubt about it. Happy birthday to Dirk today. Also, if you're into the NFL, yesterday was Bruce Smith's 60th birthday. That's a different kind of 60, by the way. When I hit 60, ain't nobody going to be scared of me like they're still scared of Bruce Smith.
Dude.
He could still take most of us out.
Yo, he was good.
Oh, my God. Old school was Virginia Tech, if you don't know, on Big Bruce. Happy birthday to him as well. And a happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. Proof that it does not matter how long it takes the truth to arrive, as long as the truth arrives. Happy Juneteenth on this June 19th, a national holiday since 2021. If you got the day off of work, congrats on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask about that in 2024.
I'm telling you.
Dude, I just wait for the office to tell me they're going to take off, and then I say, well, can we get the shows off? So maybe I need to jump out in front of it next year.
Yeah, man. I'll be good with it.
Hey, what about Juneteenth? But it doesn't always fall on a Monday, right? It moves around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't always be a Monday, right? Because it's the 19th, so it's going to move. So, all right, we'll keep that in mind for next year. Hope everybody's having a good Juneteenth. Hope you are cool. Most importantly, man, it is hot around here. If you're in the greater Austin area, 105 or whatever it's supposed to be, and I know it's hot around the state of Texas. Summer on the way officially this week, but it feels like it is already here in a big, big way. Up next, we'll get you stems and seeds before we get out of here, and we'll get you off to Ball Don't Lie. Rod and Harge and Patrick coming up on the Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right, just about to wrap it up on a Monday. We'll tell you where the guys are going to be. Ball Don't Lie on the road today after we identify this one. Zay, do I have a shot here?
Nah.
All right, who we ending up with?
Common, the light.
Oh, okay. High level of respect for Common
Tons.
in the business?
Yeah, everybody respects Common. Yeah.
Okay.
Very easygoing hip-hop.
Yeah, I might have been able to come up with that. I've heard him a few times, award shows when he and who did he have the big run with in that did the song for Selma? Was it him and John Legend?
Oh,
that did that song
probably
together?
Makes sense. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff together.
So I may be able to. Yeah, I feel like he's been a lot of good stuff. Good actor as well.
Yeah,
Common can do
he's
it
a
all.
good actor.
Ironic that his name is what he is not.
Right.
He is so not Common. Common, 50 Cent, Toto, Richard Marx, Christopher Cross, and Duran Duran today. Good mix of music. That is a music festival I could get into. Also, the Big Pokey beat to get us started this hour. So the fellas are out and about today. And by the way, I said the name of Patrick Davis. Patrick Davis is on vacation this week. Patrick's hanging on the beach this week. We hope he is getting a well-deserved week of vacation and chilling. So our man Jack Farrell is going to be jumping in to produce Ball Don't Lie. Rod and Harge are on the road. You just heard the spot for J. Parks Saloon and Standard in Buda, 404 North Main, and they will be out there today checking it out. This feels like a good day for a saloon.
Right?
Somewhere with drink, coolness, hopefully air conditioning, fans, all that stuff, as it is a broiler out there. All right, let's get you stems and seeds before we get out of here.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Not a lot of massive stories today. We'll hit a couple of the basketball stories after I update you. Hey, Tennessee doesn't want to go home quite yet. We're in the top of the fifth now. Tennessee's answered the four Stanford runs with four of their own, and they've got the bases loaded in the top of the fifth. So it's 4-all, and we are far from deciding who that second 2-and-barbecue team is. Remember, tonight it's LSU and Wake. Great matchup there at 6 o'clock in a winner's bracket game. Loser of this one is going home, the one that's on right now.
Let's go, Tennessee.
Tennessee,
Let's get it.
Well, they woke back up, didn't they? Down 4-0 and really answered. All right, Zay, what about this CP3 story? The Bradley Beal side of it again. Where do you put Phoenix if they've got Bradley Beal to go with those guys? Where are they in the West for you?
Right behind Denver. I still think Nikola Jokic, they have nobody that could stop him, but they should be able to score close with them. They're the only team that got close to beating the Nuggets in the playoffs by getting at least 2 games, and that was just with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I know Ayton was there, but he didn't even play that last game because he got his chest stomped and he was feeling it a little bit. Dog, it's playoff basketball. You need to play. But
Listen to you dogging out a guy who got stomped in the chest.
Man, he barely got touched. It's whatever. You a big man. Just say that you scared of Nikola Jokic. I would respect that a little bit more. But Bradley Beal now being on the squad, yeah, that puts them in second in the West for me. Absolutely.
So what about Draymond? You think Draymond is opting out just to come back to Golden State?
Yes.
Okay. Where are they in the West if he's back?
Third.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's those 3 teams for you.
Yep.
I would agree. Right. I couldn't believe I heard some people saying if Bradley Beal is a Sun, they go right to the top of the West. I'm like, did y'all watch the finals?
No.
Like, what in the world?
No, you don't. Because I think they're going to get better next year because Michael Porter Jr., he'll be more comfortable. I think Aaron Gordon will be just as good next year. They just got to worry about injuries, just like everybody else.
All right, Zay, before we get out of here, we've talked Georgia, Mount Rushmore of football today. Herschel is locked in. We going to lock Stetson Bennett in?
Yeah, come on.
Stetson Bennett on the Mount Rushmore. I can tell you don't like my Frank Sinkwich idea. So what about Pollock and Bailey? Are you good there?
Yes.
You go with both?
I like Frank. I didn't know Frank had a broken jaw.
Dude, he broke the jaw in game 3.
I respect that.
Won that Heisman. That's why I threw him in there. So we'll go with the you good with the Heisman winners, Champ Bailey and Stetson?
Yes.
How about that? David Pollock will take you out. even though he was a bad
He
boy
was
in
good.
Georgia. He was a bad boy at Georgia. All right, there is your Monday show. Happy Juneteenth once again. We hope everybody has a good one. Maybe you did get the day off today. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow for a Tuesday show. More from the College World Series.